Why aren't you listening to me? Doesn't anybody ever listen to me? Listen to me? Listen to me? Listen to me? Blame yourselves for this fucking word salad that I just spit all over the goddamn plate. This is all your fault. You and I like to. That's it. I work under the cover of darkness because I don't need the rest of society to look in my eyes and know that is a bad person. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. Folks, be glad that you're here. Be glad we're all here because we almost lost someone. We about 10 minutes ago, I would say, we had an incident here in the kitchen, of the stripper. Our good friend Lily Von Stubb is the producer of this show, and I'd like for her to remain so. Not only do I want her to remain the producer of the show, I would like her to remain alive. That would be good. But I just sat here and watched her almost die. And that's not even like a joke. Like, I wish I was kidding. But she was seconds away from something. If something hadn't happened, I would have been scrambling to call for help. And then who records this show? Is there anybody else in the oldest building in Hollywood who can come in and run a laptop? I don't think there is, quite frankly. Perhaps one of the paramedics. Although, we would have just done a live remote. We would have gone ahead. We would have hopped in the ambulance. I would have put the computer on Lily's chest. She would have just worked the buttons while I would have talked in the back of the ambulance. It would have been perfect, actually. You know, part of me almost wishes you had collapsed. God damn it! Things would have been much more interesting. But yeah, I just sat here. Poor Lily, she drank a Coke. She's drinking just a beverage, a normal beverage, folks. She was almost killed by a beverage. Our friend Lily was almost murdered by liquid. And not in a drowning fashion. Like, if you're submerged in liquid, then of course you can die. I think we all know that, right? We learned that as a youth. We learned that as children. But now I've found out that if you that liquid can attack you in small doses, and I don't mean like drowning in a bowl of soup, haha, funny. I mean, like, Lily just took a drink of a Coke, and then she started to kind of choke a little bit. And, you know, get that wrong pipe nonsense, right? You guys have had that. Something goes down the wrong pipe, and you're coughing, you get a little teary-eyed. Well, Lily takes it that much further, to where you're almost buying a goddamn headstone for the woman. She stood up and she's trying, she starts coughing, and I'm like, okay, you all right? And she's coughing, and she's bent over at the waist and coughing. And I'm like, and it's that thing where there's nothing more annoying, by the way, when that's happening than for someone to keep going, you okay? You all right? You okay? So I just shut the fuck up. I just sat here and waited for it to run its course because I knew what was going on. We've all had that happen. So then she continues to cough, and her eyes are tearing up, and tears are starting dripping off of her head because she's bent over at the waist. So they're not running down her cheek, like tears are coming, and so now I'm like, well, is the water trapped in her throat escaping via her eyes? Which is good, because then that means eventually everything's going to be okay. But she's bent over and she's crying and she's coughing. And I here's what I do, again, because I'm a very sensitive guy. I put my hand on top of her head. Because I was kind of comforting her at the same time, but also I was being silly. I was going to try to make her laugh, which is always what you want to do when she's almost choking to death in front of you. The girl can't get a hold of her breath. Her throat is all fucking spasming, and I'm holding on top of her head. And I know you're thinking to yourselves, well, Mike, this isn't the first time you've had your hands on somebody's head while their throat was spasming, I'm sure. And that's fine. I'm sure you all thought that, and I decided to say it for all of you because, you know what? Shame on all of you. Shame on all of you for going that route. I would have never said or thought anything of the sort, but yet it's my job to think for you people sometimes. And I know collectively, en masse, as a hive mind, your groupthink was, well, Mike, I'm sure you've been holding somebody's head while their throat was spasming in the past. And they were crying. There's no doubt they were crying at the time, too. That cannot be denied. All right, so Lily's crying, her throat is spasming. I'm holding onto her head because, again, I'm a great boyfriend. And she's bent over her waist, and I'm not talking. Like I said, I'm just letting it go. And then she starts, you know what? All right, here's the thing. I told a story on here once. There was a candy store when I was a kid. Did I ever tell this story? That we used to walk to and we get Bub's Daddy Gum. Yeah, I know I did because I talked about Bub's Daddy Gum. But the person who worked there had that weird throat machine. And but not this throat machine. Like, they didn't have the, how are you? What are you doing? Well, thank you. They may have had that, but they didn't use it. So instead, when they talked, they went, yeah. Like, they would try to talk but swallow. They had to try to, it was like their throat was completely devoid of moisture. And in order for it to work a little bit, they had to swallow as they spoke. And I know what you're thinking to yourself, folks, this isn't the first time you had to hold somebody's head while they swallowed and spoke at the same time. I don't know why you keep thinking these things. What is wrong with you folks? I'm trying to tell you a real, true life danger story, and all you go right to the gutter. God damn it. I'm disappointed in all of you. So I'm holding Lily's head as she chokes and cries, and she tries to swallow talk. So anyway, and you're like, I'm surprised it took 200 episodes for that to happen. What is wrong with you? Again, folks, I don't understand why you keep going there. Let me finish the story. We had a serious incident just happen, and yet you sit there and you're making your lighthearted jokes about it. Whatever. You want to write your fan fiction about it? Go right ahead. And if you want to send that to me, that's fine, I suppose. And if you want me to possibly read it on a special edition of the show, maybe I will. If you go ahead and write that fan fiction and send it to me, maybe I'll read it on the show. Who knows? If you want to put fingers to keys or pen to paper. Yes, actually, if you're going to write fan fiction about this show, do me a favor, use a pen. Use a calligraphic pen and then seal it with wax and have a bird fly it here. Please. Just tell the bird, fly to where you hear the coughing. And the bird will arrive eventually. Because I don't want any of your fan fiction typed. I don't want that. It needs to be fancy. It needs to be calligraphic. And calla-graphic. All right. So Lily's choking. She's trying to swallow. I'm holding her head. All right. And again, hey, stop. All right, I'm telling a story. So she's bent over at the waist, and I've got my hand on top of her head, and she's choking and swallowing and crying. And then I'm not saying anything because, again, there's nothing more annoying than asking. And she tries to tell me. She's like, it's my uvula. That's all she got out.
That's not the word I meant, though.
I'm getting there. She said my uvula, and in my head I'm just like, well, look, I'm aware of what happens with uvulas. I have a gangster uvula. We all know that. My uvula had to get jumped in by my teeth because I have a gangster mouth. But Lily, and then she's like, there's a flap of skin that goes over your throat, not uvula. And I'm like, and I'm letting her talk. I don't even know why are you explaining it to me? Just stand there and cry. I don't care. Just get it fixed. I mean, because I said to her, I go, is talking helping? And I go, you need a Heimlich? What's going on? She's like, flap of skin. And she's coughing furiously and crying. And I'm in my head, I'm going, is she dying? Is she dying right in front of my very eyes? And all I can do is hold her head and think about the jokes I'm going to tell? Ridiculous. And she's frozen and crying, and she's trying to convey to me that I guess the little is it the epiglottis? What is that thing called? The flap of skin in the back of your throat that measures your diaphragm, like, you know what I mean? That thing, it's inverted in her throat, and she can't talk or cough or laugh or swallow, and so she's basically dry drowning in her own spit. And I'm looking at her, and I'm like, I'm like, bend over. I don't know what to do. But the best part is my favorite part of it. She's like, flap of skin, uvula, choking, coughing, can't swallow. And and I just go, it happens. I said it happens. That's all I had. Because I was so uncomfortable watching my friend die and not being able to do anything about it. The only thing I could do was try to make her feel good about the fact that she was going to die in the weirdest way possible and couldn't possibly be helped. So I just went, it happens. No, it never happens. It happens to no one. No one in the world has ever cried and bent over at the waist as their epiglottis thing was flipped over and inverted and they couldn't fucking breathe and they dry drowned in their own spit. Never happened to anyone in their lives. Certainly didn't happen while a guy sat here and watched it happen. I'm watching her fucking die. Did you find the name of it?
It is the epiglottis.
Haha, the epiglottis. See, folks, I know what I'm doing. So yeah, and so it became inverted, and it was like, and she couldn't talk or breathe or anything, and she's coughing and tearing up, and I probably about 6 minutes.
Probably.
Yeah, probably about 6 minutes of that, of her crying and me holding her head and me trying not to talk and also watching her die. And finally, after 6 minutes, and the thing is, she talked and I heard her real voice. And then I went, okay, well, I fucking relaxed. I stood down. And then she goes, okay, I'm fine. All right, I had to go throw some water in my face. And so she ducks out of the room, and I'm just like, Jesus. I'm sitting here alone then, and then I'm like, it happens. Happens to everyone. Everyone almost dry drowns in their own spit as their epiglottis becomes inverted. Happens all the time. Can't tell you how many times I've had to sit through that. Oh, it's frustrating. And with everyone it's ever happened to in front of me, what did I do? I grabbed their head. I just immediately I put my hand on the top and the back of their head, and I'm like, are you okay? As if I was somehow going to shake their head and have their epiglottis flip back to where it's supposed to be.
I wish that worked.
It did not. So Lily, she looks up at me, and then, she's been crying because she couldn't control her face. She lost all control of her face at that point, and her throat was messed up, and her eyes. She's like, I got to put water in my face. She goes to the other room, and I'm just sitting here like, did that just happen? That came close to happening. Don't be sad for me. I'm sad for you. But the only good news is because I don't know what it was, but she decided to change pants too. She's like, she came walking out and she's wearing like clingier, awesome Danskin pants. I'm like, you know what? Hey, boobs are out. That's what she said. She's like, oh man, you'll never see me as sexy again. And I'm like, what does that mean? Because if you break it down, I saw you choking and crying and swallowing, bent over. I don't think I could see you any sexier than that, quite frankly. That's the sexiest I've seen you. Because in my head, I'm just like, take your shirt off. Seriously, just slowly. I mean, do it slowly, of course. Take your shirt off slowly while this is happening. Because then it's got the, it's got the degradation factor. It's got all of that happening. God damn it, folks. That works. That works. Because I've become inured to regular sexual response. I am that kind of guy who is just, okay, why don't we throw a few more things into the mix here? All right. So our friend Lily almost died, but she's with us still, thankfully, and we continue with the show. Yeah, I agree. Because how am I going to explain that? They come in. I literally, Eddie shows up, and you're on the ground, dead, covered in spit, choking. You know what I mean? You're out, and I'm just standing here like, dude, I don't know. I don't. Wasn't me. I just pack up my stuff and leave. Wasn't me.
Oh my God.
All right. So, hi, folks. I'm shaken up. I'm not as shaken up as Lily was. Poor Lily. Well, no, don't be sad. Again, it's more for you than it is for me. Jesus Christ. That was, because all I had to talk about was when I showed up and the dude was running, your crazy shoeless, remember that dude who accosted me?
Yes.
Dennis. He's in the building now.
Yes.
He was running. When I got into the building, I'm waiting for the elevator, and he ran down the stairs. He ran to the mailboxes, then he ran past me and said hello, and then he ran past me again and said hello again. All this time, I'm waiting for the elevator to come down from the 4th floor. This guy does like 3 laps around the entire fucking building, and says hello to me twice. And I just, I'm nodding. I'm just looking for the elevator, pushing the button furiously, trying to escape, hoping not to get accosted. So how are you folks? Have your friends almost died in this time frame? I hope not. It's a Tuesday record. Maybe that's why your body's all wigged out, because it's the second Tuesday in a row. So as Lily went to eat her Thin Mints, that was another thing when she walked in. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe, that could be it. Because when I walked in, she's like, "Do you want a Thin Mint?" I said, "No, I'm good." So she's eating her cookies because I have cookies at the house.
Really?
Well, I think, did you buy yours from Paul?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I bought mine from Paul.
Paul made a special delivery to bring them to me yesterday.
Paul Goebel, if you bought Girl Scout cookies from him, he said he would deliver them to your house. So then I denied him. I declined his friendly offer and said, I will pick them up from you Sunday night.
Know where you live?
Well, I was gone. I was out for the weekend. Well, he asked me for my address. I'm like, you've been here a million times, but that's fine. I get that. But I said, why don't I just come to your house and pick them up on Sunday? And he's like, yeah. And then, Paul's very abrupt. And so even in texting, he just wrote, if that works for you. That's all he wrote. So that's exactly how he said it. And then a day went by. And I realized that Sunday I'm unavailable to go to Paul's house and pick up cookies because I had a dinner with a friend and I had to record a podcast. I'm on Jordan Jesse Go this week, which I recorded on Sunday, and so I had to be at his place, and then I had to meet this person for dinner. So then I just, in the middle of the night, like Saturday night, I just texted him my address. I said, you know what, bring it by. I said, and now also I'm at Graveyardville late Sunday if you want to bring it by there. And he never responded, but then he brought the cookies by. Yes, he brought them by when Karen was at home alone. Yes, sure. Yeah. I woke up and Karen had tears in her eyes and she was choking and coughing. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Did Paul just bring the cookies by? But yeah, so he showed up. But here's the thing. Last year I talked about this. Paul Goebel we bought cookies from him, and then he was supposed to deliver them or bring them to me, or I was picking them up, but he kept them in the trunk of his car. And it was like 90 degrees in Los Angeles. And I talked about this on the show. When I got the Thin Mints, they were fused together into one solid. It was like I said, it was like a mint nightstick. I mean, it was like crazy.
Awesome.
So when he asked me if I wanted to buy cookies, I go, you promise me you're not going to fuck them up? And he's like, well, I don't bake them. And I go, I understand that, but you bake them after the fact. You get them, you leave them in your trunk, you fuck them up. I go, dude, last year was awful. Like, I had to eat this fucking mint. I had to eat an entire sleeve of Thin Mints like corn on the cob. I mean, it's like ridiculous. He's like, oh, it won't happen this time. I'm like, yeah, it won't happen again. You like that, really? Well, all right. Well, maybe you make it happen somehow. Or yeah, ask Paul. He could probably make it happen for you because he made it happen for me. And I guess he showed up with his 2 daughters at my house, and he told Karen, he goes, hey, you're kind of like my last stop, and they've been in the trunk all day, and it was unseasonably warm on Sunday. And Karen told me that when I woke up, and I'm like, did you open them? Did you even check them? Because I'm telling you, if they are fucked up, I am going and dropping them off at his fucking house. I'm not even kidding. He's my friend and good for him. But if he did this again because now you're just busting my balls. Now you're just being a dick. If you get my Girl Scout cookies and you put them in a fucking kiln, that's on you, motherfucker. That's not on me. All right. I paid in good faith for cookies that are, one at a time cookies. Girl Scout cookies are one at a time cookies. They should come apart like poker chips. All right. I don't want to be eating a fused stack of fucking. This isn't the Cake Boss. All right. Don't make me some fucking weird pastry creation. It's not the challenge show I watch on goddamn Food Network where they go ahead and they make a candy roller coaster. Just give me cookies that come apart. So I made her. I go, open them right now. And she opened them, and thankfully they were fine. But it didn't stop me from getting all worked up for no reason on Sunday night. What the fuck? Open those cookies. What the fuck? Like I couldn't make it over there. I'm going to cancel a dinner date just to go over and fucking kill him. Awful. But and now part of me thinks that he's trolling. I mean, he was just like, yeah, I left him in the trunk for a little. He's trying to fucking get me mad. He did. He got me fucking mad. I was apoplectic, folks. I was coughing and spitting and crying, choking. All right. Hi, folks. How are you? I'm good. So I am back in town. It's crazy. This is the crazy time, folks. I'm on planes. That's why we're recording on Tuesdays. Last week we recorded on Tuesday. This week we record on Tuesday. You don't care. What the fuck do you care? You're hearing it on Thursday regardless. Oh, I'll tell you this. If you're hearing this on Thursday, if you want a t-shirt for the Washington, D.C. show, you need to order it because Friday the orders go in. So the last day to order is Thursday, which is today that you're hearing the thing because I'll order them Friday morning. So go order one now or don't. I don't care because here's why. Here's the main reason. I will not be selling t-shirts at the show. I'm not buying extra shirts to sell in DC. If you want a shirt, you need to pre-order it because it doesn't make any sense to order shirts to buy. Because, when I did Atlanta, there were Kickstarter people who get free shirts. And then there are people who, I was in Atlanta. Did I mention I was in Atlanta? I'll get to that, folks. So, that's a lot of so. So, yeah, dumb. I'm having Chinese tonight, so it's first and foremost in my brain. Man, the Asians have taken a beating in year 4. I thought about it the other day. I was like, holy shit. There's like two shows with actual like named Asian, and that's recently. You know what? The Asians have taken a beating in the tail end of year 4. Hit them. I just right in the middle of the rising sun. I blasted these people. All right, so anyway. So I don't want, I won't be ordering Washington shirts. Because I was in Atlanta, okay, and I had Kickstarter shirts people, and I didn't order many to sell. Like, I only ordered a few. Because, again, I sold like 50 tickets, all right, which is great. And that's, I'm always, it's ever growing. You know what I mean? Like, it all depends on the size of the venue and how many tickets I'm going to sell. And, I mean, what's a success? Because people, they'll approach me and they're like, well, how many? What's a sellout? What's a success for you? And I'm like, well, I don't. Honestly, I don't know. These are Kickstarter shows, so you guys were nice enough to fund these shows. So, I mean, these shows are covered. It's just now, once I start sending out the rewards, which, by the way, let's get to that. All right, let's go ahead and get to that, folks. If you are a Kickstarter donator, I've already contacted you via email, and I will tell you this. I've only heard back from like 80 of the 110 of you who donated. Which is good. So I mean, I have addresses and names and things like that, and I've contacted you several times with emails, and I will be sending out. Here's the thing: this week is not good for me because I'm traveling again. And I'm doing some stuff. So I'm in Chicago this week, but then I get home, and then next week I'm off. All right, not off. I mean, I'm still working in Graveyard Hill, but I'm home here. There's no traveling. It's the week between Chicago and DC. Next week, all the Kickstarter stuff, all family business will be settled. All right. I'm just me and Clemenza are taking care of business, and can't do it, Sally. We're doing it all, folks. So I will be sending out at least the $20 people. All those will start going out in 2 weeks, and then I'm also as you know, anybody who's getting artwork, that's going to take a little longer because I have one guy doing it. Unfortunately because of the beating the Asians have taken in year 4. My team of animators over in Taiwan have gone on strike. They want no They want nothing to do with going ahead and creating what we needed, and that's fine. So unfortunately, now the burden falls back on my friend David. So he is the one who has to do all that. But it's getting squared away, is my point. He's you guys, some of you get a screensaver that'll be coming. It might be coming piecemeal, but anything that can be mailed is probably going to get mailed in 2 weeks. If you're on the $20 or $30 thing, whatever, who fucking cares? The bottom line is, don't worry. All right, Kickstarter's getting taken care of, and shirts. So I people ordered. They got Kickstarter shirts in Atlanta, and so there was a group. There was 20 people who were getting shirts, and then in my head I'm like, well, I got 50 people coming, so then I only ordered 7 shirts to sell. Because I don't want to, I don't want to be sleeping in a bunch of fucking unopened Mike Schmidt shirts. So I ordered them, and I did not sell 7. As a matter of fact, I think I only sold a couple, and I gave the sound guy 1. So I have leftover Atlanta. If you want an Atlanta shirt, and if you're still interested, go ahead and contact me via the website. But my point is, I'm not going to be, because these are Kickstarter shows and a lot of people have got shirts coming to them. I don't think there's much sense in getting surplus shirts. And whatever, who the fuck cares? This is a 9, and also I'll tell you this, let's get into this real quick. I ordered my Atlanta shirts, a couple weeks ago. I like the t-shirt company that I work with. All right. I think they're putting out a good product. However, they always, I'm giving them a lot of business and I'm paying a lot of money, I think, for me. Because again, I'm just one guy who's ordering shirts, and to me, I'm always paying, and that's fine. But then they're not kissing my ass nearly enough for me. I mean, I should call, and you should fall all over yourselves, and I should get the boss on the phone, and then this other chick, and I should talk to you guys, and again, confirm for me what I want. How fucking hard is it to show me an example of the shirt? Email me an example of it, because I'm fucking 3,000 miles away. That seems long. I'm 2,000 miles away. So I panic because I don't see the shirts until I open the box. All right, and then inevitably, I look at them, they're great. All right, the Milwaukee shirts were great, and San Francisco, they were fucking great. But it doesn't matter. All it takes is one mistake to fuck everything up for me in my head and make me want to go back to the initial thing where I said, send me a picture. I need to see it. I need, because I'm not there. I don't get to meet these fucking people. David brings in the artwork, and then they have it on their computer, and then I have to, and this is the thing. Or, fuck. We've made shirts with you before, all right? And again, I like their work. I have to stress that I enjoy their work. What they do, the final product comes out looking great as long as they do what they're supposed to do. And yes, I keep saying supposed to. People write me and they're like, you're saying supposed. Yes, I know. I'm doing it on purpose. Fucking weird grammar police. I mean, and I make a ton of grammar mistakes. All right, I'm grammatically incorrect all over this motherfucker, and yet people latch onto a supposed to. I had 4 letters because I said a supposed to. I thought I did too, but and that's why I threw it in again on purpose. And yet now I explain it, so I neutralize it. All right, so whatever. Who cares? So I when I first did a shirt with them, all right, it was very important to figure out the dimensions of the design. You know what I mean? So it had to be like 11.5 inches in the front and 11.5 in the back, and then wide, and also there was text. So it actually changed from city to city because the theater names were different and the city names were longer. It was a different design. But they had a template. They had a general template for the front and what it was supposed to be, but it didn't stop them, because then every shirt they would send me a note and they'd go, all right, well, we don't know how big this is supposed to be. How do you want it? And I would write them. I go, do what you did last time. Do it. You have, or unless you're burning all of the paperwork afterwards. I mean, you are working on a computer, right? You did send this via email, so you must have some sort of storage there that tells you exactly what I've ordered in the fucking past, right? And I guess I'm wrong. I'm wrong because I should, because then if they do something that they did earlier and I don't like it, so I guess they're just checking. Fine. But then I tell them, I go, well, it's supposed to be, and I'll forward them. It's funny. I actually forwarded the guy the first email discussion that we ever had, where we came up with the number, the 11.5 by 11.5. I just said it to him. I go, there, take that. And then it didn't matter. The next shirt I had, he wrote me again. So, all right, I'm not going to name names. All right, because I deal with 5 people there. But there's one dude who just gets caught up in the, all right, let's put it this way. There's a woman I deal with who, no matter what I say, she goes, okay. And then it doesn't happen. And then I go, well, you said okay. Well, yeah, but at the time, yeah, they just want you off the fucking phone. They're, okay. And they're great. Again, I like their work. But holy motherfucker, do what I say and just at least hold my hand on this, because I'm an idiot. Listen to me. Now I'm carving you up now after the fact for no reason. I'm going to lose your business. You're going to lose my business. Awful. So, but this girl, every time I talk to her, she's like, yep, yes, yeah, we can do that. That's done. All right, let's put it this way. This is gonna get real technical and bad about shirts, and I fucking apologize. The Atlanta shirts, the Milwaukee shirt and the San Francisco shirt were a process called screen printing. Okay, whereas It's because it's minimal color, so it's easier for them to do. And I've fallen in love with that design now. So I've said to Max, moving forward, maybe we start looking more at screen printing because it's really hard for them to duplicate the watercolor stuff that Mex does because it winds up blending a little bit and it gets a little dark. And we wind up looking at it and we like it, but we'd like it to be better. And I'm unfortunately, like I said, with all these people in Taiwan bailing on me, I have to go through these people and they do it their way. In Asia, bing, bang, boom, fucking great shirt. By the way, that's the 3 guys I actually dealt with over there in Taiwan. Whenever I have to call and place an order, I have to talk to Bang. He transmits me to Bang, and then we get Boom on the phone. All right, so taking a beating. All right, so it was Bing Bang Boom Shirt Company. It's over there in Taiwan. Call them up. Oh, they're never coming back to the sweatshop now. God damn it. Because I try, when I talk to them, I try to make it sound like I'm concerned, and now they hear that I'm not concerned because they listen to the show. I don't know if you're aware of this, because they also, in another wing of the factory, they build tweakedaudio.com/40 earbuds. So everybody who's in there making the T-shirts actually gets this preset of earbuds. Well, not free. We take it out of their pay. But they have to listen, and they're all plugged into one feed, and all they play is just the show over and over and over. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, Old Never Not Funnies. Any podcast appearance I've ever done, they have to hear it because they need the voice of Dear Leader in their head while they're creating my products. So, but now they've taken a powder. They're out on me. They're gone. They're out playing fucking softball with a melon with Robin Williams and Forrest Whitaker. God damn it. All right. So I've lost them. And so now I have to deal with these people. And again, the girl is always just so cheerful and great and nice, and she knows me when I call, but she just agrees to everything. So I like the screen printing. I'm falling in love with the screen printing. So Max, for the Kickstarter shirts, he actually created a design that would be easier for screen printing. Okay, we made the character a little more cartoony and a little more line. I don't know the art terms, but he made it more of an animation type of thing so we could screen print it. So he brought it and he dropped it off. And then I talked to her on the phone and I said, hey, I want these shirts screen printed. And she said, well, that's a lot more money because you have a lot of colors here. Because the little Schmitty he's got red, he's got blue in his pants, he's got like flesh color, and he's got brown hair and the red horns, whatever. And she's like, yeah, along with the border is white. She goes, that's a lot of colors. So screen printing is going to be expensive. And I said, well, how much? And then she told me, and it came in, I sell the shirts for very little profit, but it really cut into it, like really a lot. It added an extra, like, all right, I can't give you numbers, but it made it prohibitive. And I went, do it. I said, I don't care. I said, because I want it screen printed. I want to see what it looks like screen printed, especially with this first run. I go, we'll do Atlanta that way, and I don't care about the money. Because it's all, I'm writing it and selling, I'm writing it off and selling it and whatever the fuck, it's a business. I said, just go ahead and do it. I want to see what it looks like screen printed. That'll be fine. She goes, okay, great. And I said, you'll re-invoice me? She said, yes. So she re-invoiced me. Everything was fine. And I ordered the Atlanta shirts. I needed them to fly. I needed them by the 28th of February. So I think I ordered them on February 16th, if I remember correctly. Mex went in and dropped the stuff off, and then they said, yeah, no problem, we'll have it out to you. And you guys know I went through the UPS bullshit. I went through a ton of shit. So San Francisco came, and they were gorgeous. They were perfect. Everything arrived on time. Everything was fine. So time goes by, and like 3 days goes by, and then I get a note from this one particular guy in the art department who I have gone back and forth with. I should tell you, I told you, I mentioned I talked to the girl. Then there's another guy who's like a manager there. And whenever I talk to him, he's completely baffled by any request that I would have, as if I've never called the building, I've never spoken to anyone in there in my life, and he'll always just go, "What is that? I don't understand why you. What do you mean you don't understand? You and I have spoken about this every time I ordered a motherfucking shirt. What don't you understand, dude?" So that's fine. Whenever he answers the phone, I cringe because I know it's going to be a Who's on First routine. So 3 days later, I get a fucking email from this other dude in the art department he doesn't deal with customers at all. He's in the paint galley. All right, that's where he is. He's just a fucking ink slave, and he fucking writes me, and he's like, all right, so we went ahead and did this shirt. I just want to make sure you approve it. It's direct to garment and everything's squared away. And I wrote him back, or no, I called him. I immediately picked up the phone, and I asked for him, and he gets on the phone, and I go, hey. I just got your email, and this is not a direct-to-garment garment. This is not a direct-to-garment. It's screen printed. And he goes, well, I talked to the woman, whose name I can't say. He said, I talked to her, and she definitely told us it's direct-to-garment. I go, no, I spoke with her 3 days ago, and I squared this away. It's screen printed. And she told me it was fine. I actually have a new invoice and everything. He's like, oh, okay, well, I'll talk to her. So I said, fine. I hang up the phone. Then I get an email from him, and he goes, yeah, I talked to her, and she says it's definitely direct-to-garment. And he emailed me. He didn't call me. Again, he's like, so, and what he said was, I talked to her, it's definitely direct-to-garment, so could you approve this, and we can get started on the printing here in the ink galley? I'm like, dude! So I call up immediately, and he doesn't want to talk to me, but I ask for him, and he gets on the phone, and he's like, you probably need to talk to her. She said she sent you an email, and as I'm on the, I go, dude, I never got an email. I never heard anything. And as we're talking, I have my email on the screen. Bloop, it pops up right there from her explaining the situation. But I didn't have it. It's been, So I go, transfer me to her. She gets on the phone, and I go, I'm reading your email here, and it says that you can't do it now? She goes, no, I'm sorry, we can't. And I go, were you going to tell me, or were you just going to go ahead and fire it off and do it the way you wanted to because you felt that was the way it is? And because I'm jumping down people's throats, and I shouldn't be, all right? I guess I should control myself, but it's just like, dude, I'm fucking 2,000 miles away. Don't make decisions without me. You've got to call me, and again, you've got to fucking push me on my jazzy scooter through all of this. I'll sit down in a wheelchair and you just roll me by the assembly line. So I need to approve everything. I can't explain to you. I'm so freaked out about how shitty it's going to be. And even though it's never been shitty, everything they've ever given us is great. And then she's like, well, I'm real sorry. It's just I figured, because there was no choice. I mean, you were either going to cancel the order or we were going to go there. And I was like, well, why wouldn't I do that? I mean, and she's like, well, I'm sorry. And then they apologize. They're very nice. And I just go, okay, fine. So I go, re-invoice me the original invoice. So she did. And so then I contact that guy, send him an email. I go, yes, do that. It looks fine. And then a couple days later, I get a note from her. She goes, hey, you ordered a 3X with the group. Well, unfortunately, the only 3X we have is torn. The shirt is torn. So I can either give you a 4X or you can get a long sleeve. It's up to you. And I called her because that's an email. And then I called her and I'm like, I ordered a 3X. I want a short sleeve 3X. That's not the last short sleeve 3X in the world, right? And she's like, well, no, we can either give you a 4X or a long sleeve on what we have on hand, but if you want to wait, then I can get it. I go, yeah, I'll wait. I go, you don't understand. People prepaid for these shirts. It's not like I'm just selling them, whatever. And I go, why? And I wanted to say this and I didn't. Why the fuck, after 10 orders with you, why the fuck would I want a long sleeve shirt? Why would I have all of these shirts that are short sleeve? And then I go, by the way, anybody want a 3X long sleeved? What the fuck? You're hoping a really fat junkie comes to the show and wants to cover his fucking track marks? Because, I mean, what the fuck is your problem? I don't... It just seems so weird, Yeah, we don't have a 3X, it's torn, so we'll give you either 4X or the... No, you'll make what I fucking paid for. You'll make what I want. God damn it! Am I wrong? I don't think I'm wrong here. I made an order and I paid for it. I haven't paid for it yet because I don't pay until the fucking box shows up. I'll tell you that, too. There's another thing. San Francisco, I make the order and then I get a fucking bill from them from their AR or their AR department. Sends me an invoice 2 days after I place the order or whatever it gets made, and she's like, "Please update your account. You must pay this invoice upon receipt." And I'm just like, "Fuck you! I will pay it when I get the order and I look at. I'm good for it. I've paid you 7 different times already. I'm not going anywhere, and I will get the box. I will review everything, and then I will pay you. That's how it works." And that's the arrangement I've had with everybody. I don't know who this new Brunhilde fucking chick is. All of a sudden, they hired an AR department. Before I was dealing with everybody there, maybe they just got tired of dealing with me and they put me over into her fucking hands. So she sends me an invoice and then I pay. And and here's the thing. The first time I ever ordered, I gave them my credit card number and they charged me. Because the first time I ever ordered, I ordered 2 cities at once, New York and Philadelphia. So then the time came to order another shirt. And they said, you have a balance with us. And I go, why? And they said, well, you didn't pay for your New York order. I said, I gave you my credit card to pay for the orders that were out. And they go, well, we thought that was just for Philadelphia. I go, why would I give you my credit card and tell you to pay one and not for both? So I paid New York right away. And ever since then, whenever I get my invoice and I get my shirts, they get paid. I'm not on credit. I don't want to be. But this chick sends me a fucking email 2 days after the fact all the time. Infuriating. So she gives me this, fucking song and dance about a 4X or a long sleeve. And I go, all right. I said, I'll tell you what. I go, yeah, give me a 4X and a 3X. I want a 3X t-shirt with short sleeves. And she's like, well, we'll probably have to send it after the. I go, that's fine. I don't care. Okay. All right. Well, no problem. We'll take care of that. I said, fine. I paid for it, and if you want to cover it, then that's because I think they should cover it, right? I mean, because they're causing me a problem here. It doesn't. I didn't give a fuck. If you want to charge me for it, that's fine too. I'll sell the 4X. Who cares? But to me, send me the 3X because a guy paid for it. Joey Harris, who's coming to the Atlanta show, paid in advance for his shirt. I can't just look at him and go, oh, duh. That's what the show's for. That's my favorite part of the actual show. Is that whenever I go to a town, I just go, oh, duh. So, time goes by. Like I said, I ordered the 16th, and a couple days are going by. I'm probably being very bad with the math here, but suffice to say, then a few more days go by, and I get an email, and it says Atlanta delivery from this girl. I open it up. We have a problem. Our printer is broken, so we're not sure we're going to be able to make it to you. Because what they do is they ship the shirts to me in California, and then I bring them with me to wherever city I go to. And it also allows me to review the shirts before I go to that city. So if I have to freak out, I can do it before I leave town. So she's like, yeah, I'm real sorry, but our printer's broken. We should have it up and running tonight, and then we should finish tomorrow, and then we'll send it out. It'll be, you'll get it. It looks like we're on time right now. We're trying to figure it out. So I let that night go by, and then the next day I called, and I got the owner of the store. He answered. I've dealt with him before. When I went home to Chicago, I dealt with him for my shirts. Nice guy. And real Chicago. Hey, Mike, what's going on there? Hey, these shirts look nice, man. This is great. You do that comedy thing? I mean, he's that guy. So he answers the phone when I call. He never answers the phone. And he saw my caller ID. He's like, I want to talk to you. Yeah, this printer's still giving us trouble. It's not going to happen. So, I said, okay, look. I said, I'm on a plane on the 29th. We're like 5 days away, whatever. I go, how close are you? And he's like, well, we got to still finish those shirts. We got to get the printing done and got to send it to you. I go, well, can you just overnight it somehow? Well, we could do that, I guess, but I'm not sure. I got to figure out what I'm doing, but the printer right now is the problem. I don't know if it's going to be up today or tomorrow. And I go, all right, well, look, I go, you know what you can do? If you want to ship me the shirts in Atlanta, I can give you the address of the hotel. And I get there on Wednesday. You can send it when it's ready, and if it'll be there waiting for me, however it works, I don't care. I go, I understand, you guys, this is a tough thing, but you want to send the shirts, that's great. He said, hey, that would help us out, but we'll still try to get them to the air in California. I said, that's fine. So I get that. He transfers me to her, and I give her the address of the hotel where I'm staying. And now here, all right, now we reach a divergent part in the story. Because what I can do now is I can tell you the rest of the T-shirt stuff, which will overlap into Atlanta, or I could just right now start the Atlanta saga. What do I do?
Atlanta saga.
And then dovetail the T-shirts in where they belong.
Yes, absolutely.
I guess I could do that. I suppose. Where are we at in this show?
We are at 37 minutes.
I need to talk another half an hour before I talk about Atlanta. Now, it's very important to me to have an hour of extraneous bullshit before I get to the thing that everybody wants to hear about. And so, what's funny is I meet people on the road and they tell me stuff and I go, how do you listen to me? I don't know how you listen to me. There was a woman in San Francisco. They were very nice. It was a great couple. Her husband was Chris, and I think I mentioned him on here, but her name was Trisha Lynn, and she was really nice, except for the fact that she hated me, and it was so obvious that she hated me, to the point where I felt like going, "You hate me? Why do you hate me?" But because I always ask when women are there, all right, I assume they're dragged by their boyfriends or husbands, and I'll say, "Do you listen to the podcast, or do you know me from the podcast?" Because I'll ask how many people know me from the show and how many people were brought to the live show, and so I was surprised to see that Trisha Lynn said that she was a listener. Like I said to Chris, I was very nice, and I talked to him, and then he said, "This is Trisha Lynn," and I said, "Hey, do you listen to the show?" She's like, "Yeah, well, I did, sort of," and she wouldn't look me in the eyes, like, and I was like, "Oh, she doesn't want to tell me that she doesn't like me, and that's fine," and then she's like, "Yeah, but then you wouldn't stop talking about those earphones," and I couldn't, and I'm like, oh yeah, I tend to latch onto something and I'll talk about it for a while. I was like, wasn't it a couple weeks? Because the earphones were cutting in and out, and I needed to find a new. And so I kept. It was what was in my brain at the time, so I talked about it. And you could see that she was like, I don't know why you did that or why you thought it was entertaining or interesting in the least to anyone in the world but you. And I wanted to say, well, that's the idea. This show is entertaining to me. I'm really glad that other people are on board. But, you know, it turns out that what's entertaining to me is entertaining to a lot of people. Thank God. And it's okay if you don't think so. If you, because again, I don't know if she's even listened since then, but after the earbud thing. But the thing is, I get someone in every city who decides to tell me that. Who's like, why did you talk about that forever? Because that's what I did. I mean, and the thing that makes me laugh, I've been doing this 4 fucking years, and you've listened. I'm going to assume you've listened to more than a handful of shows. You might have heard 10 shows. That's a baseline. If you're coming to my live show, and I'm assuming you've heard probably 5 to 10 shows at least. And even if you didn't, whatever. You've been dragged by somebody, that's fine. But if you're someone who claims to have listened, and then you come, and then you start giving me like a bunch of shit about what I've talked about, or why I wouldn't let something go, where have you been for the past... Every time you're listening, what do you hear? What do you hear? That's what I don't understand. That's all I do is I latch onto something and I won't let it go. That's why these fucking shows are 3 hours long. And luckily enough, there are people who find that sort of entertaining. Thank God. If there weren't, then I'm shouting into an even bigger void than I am now. But I always tell people, like, well, because people will write me too. I told you, people will write me and say stuff about get to a point or da-da-da. And I just go, hey, you might as well turn it off right now. Right? Yeah, seriously. This is what I do. You don't like it, don't listen. Don't write me and tell me to change. I've been doing it 4 fucking years. And I will forward you the 30 emails that came just before you sent yours telling me how great the show is and what they enjoy. But it makes me laugh that people are, why aren't you like other shows? I don't know. Man, I don't fucking know. When I did Jordan Jesse Go, Jesse was very nice. And he said I was the best one-man podcast for his money. And, that was fucking amazing that he would say something like that, especially considering the competition and the people that are out there. And we talked about you. I said I couldn't do it without you. I said it's just me and my producer. And I said there are people who don't like that, and then they write me and stuff, because he has a conversation show, and then people are always like, why don't you have a guest? Why don't you talk? Because I don't. That's the whole point. I don't. I have a guest. His name's Mike. Evil Mike. Evil Mike shows up occasionally. We'll have a chat. And then there's this nameless cast of faceless T-shirt people from Taiwan. You know them. And you know what's funny? I keep mentioning them in the hopes that while they listen over there in Taiwan, they know that a dear leader cares for them and they come back to work. Please come back to work. You hear the problems I'm having with these Americans? All right. So how the fuck did I spin off into that nonsense? I don't even know. So at least I knew my T-shirts were going to be en route. I'm like, all right, well, at least they're going to be there, and then I'm going to fly, and everything's going to be fine. So I flew to Atlanta, folks, to do a show. I left last Wednesday because I did the podcast on Tuesday. So, as you all know, my sleep schedule is not good. I wind up sleeping in bursts. I sleep at weird times. I catch naps. So, last Tuesday, I got up at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon after getting 4 hours of sleep. And then I was at the house, and then I had to come here and do the podcast, and then I had to work in Graveyardville that night. And I'm like, well, I just won't sleep. It's no problem. I won't sleep. So I stayed up, came into the podcast, got out of here. Could have probably grabbed an hour or two at the house, but I didn't. I went to Graveyardville instead, made my way through there, came home to the house, packed, left for LAX, and decided on the drive to LAX that I was going to be as boring as possible in telling you about this morning. Awful. Jesus Christ. Pick up the pace. So I will tell you, usually it's obviously LAX, it's traffic, but if you go that early in the morning, it's not so bad. And I flew through. Like, Karen drove me, and it was 25 minutes from my door to LAX. It was great. Worked out perfectly. And I get to the airport, and I go in, and there's nobody. It's like a ghost town. But I'll tell you this. You might recall that in San Francisco, I lost my driver's license. Well, I had to go to the DMV and get a new one. I had to make an appointment, and I thought that they took your photo and you got a whole new license and it was issued to you. No, here's what happens. They just make you wait in line. Although I had an appointment, but it was a long line, but still, and then you have to go to the window and you do a thumbprint and they ask you a couple of questions about yourself, and then they just send you your old license in the mail. which is ridiculous because I lost my license, so it's the same number. That they didn't even change the number. I have the same exact number. So what if some animal is going to steal my identity? He's got my license or whatever the fuck up in San Francisco. Who knows what he's doing at this point? And it's going to match. So I don't know. Why wouldn't they just fucking call it a cats game and wipe the whole thing out and give me a whole new thing? We'll start over. But I guess they have a way of figuring. I don't know. Who knows? They also tell you it's going to be 7 to 10 days for you to get your license. I was still flying to Atlanta. So I told them that, and they go, oh, well, here, just take this. And they basically handed me a phone book. Like this weird, it's like 80 pages with a bunch of stuff, and they're like, just show that at the airport and you'll be fine. And I said, you're sure? Like, it doesn't have my picture, it just has information. They go, well, no, it's not a problem. It's official DMV documents, so just show that to them, and you're fine. I said, okay. So I brought that with me to the airport, and I got to the front to check my bag, and they said, hey, I need your ID. And I said, well, unfortunately, I lost my ID when I was traveling a couple of weeks ago, and I went to California DMV, and I went and filled out some paperwork, and here, take a look at this, because everything should be fine. Guess what, folks? Everything is not fine. The woman at the DMV says everything will be fine, so you will get away from her window and let her get back to her snacks and lies. She doesn't give a fuck about you. Just get out of the building, man. I've got to see D11 or whoever the fuck they're calling now. I've got to see any number of illegal immigrants who are here to try to trick me into giving them a driver's license. So I hand over this fucking packet of papers, and they're just like, all right, they start looking at it, and they go, all right, Mr. Schmidt, do you have something else in your wallet? So I had to show them some credit cards. And then they say, all right, we need to go through your bag. So they take me aside. Thank God it was a smooth sailing from my house to the airport, because then it took me like 25 minutes just at the check-in. Not even security gate. This isn't even the security gate. This is the check-in. They have to give me my boarding pass, and they start looking at everything, and they go through my bag, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. They go through my other bags, and then they patted me down. Like full on, they got grabby. They got pretty grabby this time. I was a little surprised. Because normally, like I said, when I took my belt off in San Francisco and my pants fell down, that's because they wanted to see my balls. Well, this time, who was working at LAX? The guy who wanted to grab balls. That guy was there. Because he like cupped my junk. Like, he went through and just grabbed and moved his hands. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Really? They went off. So, luckily I didn't. So they went ahead. They looked through all my bags and they checked me and they go, fine. They go up to security. And it was just, it's so weird to me how much we allow. Because I just wanted to get on the plane. So it's like, all right, you want to grab my cock? Go ahead. I mean, like, how fucking weird is that? Again, that happened to me when I was a kid, and I'm still telling stories about it fucking 30 years later. But now I have to do it. Now it's a prerequisite. A guy gets to grab my balls because I didn't have a fucking photo ID. Even though I've got 10 credit cards with my name and a Bible from the DMV, they still grab my nuts. What the fuck? And I let them. Because I didn't give a fuck. Because honestly, again, it's amazing what we will allow. So I went ahead, I walked through, I go up to security, and then I'm like, well, my balls have already been jostled. There's fingerprints. If they dusted my balls for prints, they're going to arrest the guy from downstairs. So this time I checked into security, and it was fine. There wasn't a problem. And then, no, they didn't bother with my belt. I wore my belt. I went through the fucking thing. Because, again, like I said, the guy, it turns out the guy who wanted to see my balls was off. So I zipped through. That was fine. And I get to the gate, and then I needed to use the restroom before I got on the plane. So I go in and I go into the restroom right by the gate. And look, all right, I don't have to paint a picture of a restroom for you folks. You know how it is. But ladies, if you've never been in a men's restroom, it's your restroom with urinals. That's all it is. Don't think there's anything special. You know what I mean? There's not a fucking foosball table. It's not anything like that. It's literally you go in there, you take care of your stuff. So this particular restroom, I walk in, and first there's on the right-hand side, there's all the sinks and mirrors and things like that. And then you got to go around the corner, and that's where all the business gets taken care of. Because I call it business, folks. That's what it is. It's a transaction. Well, not really a transaction. It's more of a drop-off. You're dropping something off. So I come around the corner to use the restroom, and I'm just, again, it's been a smooth sailing, other than the fact that I got molested downstairs. I come around the corner, and let me set it up. On the one wall, there's like 6 urinals. And then directly behind them, there's a bunch of stalls with doors. So I come around, and there's like 2 guys at urinals. So you immediately have to pick the urinal that's not next to a dude. So when there's 6, there's 2 dudes. You hope that they have space, and they did, thankfully, because there's 2. If there's 3, it's weird because then you got to get in between. Nobody wants to do any of that. It's a lot of pressure in the bathroom when you're a man, folks. So you ladies, you go into the house. You go into the little house there, and you close the door, and everything's fine. But guys, we have to stand out in the open, and then there's you got to deal with quick glances, and if you look the wrong way, and if you sneeze, and nobody wants to do all that. All right. So I go around and I go to pick a urinal, but as I come around, there's two guys at the urinals, and then there's the stalls, and all the way toward the end, there's the last stall, but the second to last stall, standing out front of the stall, there's a little boy. He's probably, I'm going to say 5, maybe 2. I don't know. But he's small. He's like a little blonde-haired kid, and he's got like a little football jersey on. It had a number, but it was nondescript. And then long sleeves, and then little jeans. He's dressed like a little man. You know what I mean? How when a little kid has little man clothes on, and he's literally standing there. And this is going to be a physical bit, and you're not going to get it, but I don't care. I'm going to try to explain this to you as best I can. But I come around the corner. There's 2 guys using urinals, and there's a little kid, and he's standing in front of the stall, and he has his arms crossed and a mean face. And he's just looking for. He's not looking at the stall. He's got his back to the stall, and he's looking forward. You hear that noise? That's his face. And he's just staring. And I'm just like, well, that's fucking weird. And I also don't want to get a urinal next to the kid. Like I have to. I now know that end of the urinals that's verboten to me, because dude, I have to pull my cock out. All right, I don't have any interest in pulling my cock out in a room with a 5-year-old anymore. All right, I don't want it. Trust me, that gets old after a while. And it's so funny. So it dawns on me, like I'm trying to figure out why the kid is there, and I look, and there's someone in that stall. Okay, but I go to grab a urinal, and I see the kid, and in my head I even went. I was like, that's fucking weird. But it's even weirder because he had that little cute expression on his face, like, And so I go and I grab the urinal. I go to use the bathroom, and as I'm there, and I've got my bags over my shoulder, and this kid, all of a sudden in his little kid voice, I hear him, and he goes, "Dad, how much longer?" So it dawns on me that what's going on is this little kid is guarding the stall that his father is in. He's like making sure nobody monkeys with the door. Let's put it this way. I don't know if he was told to guard the door, or if he just naturally took it upon himself to make sure to guard the door. He might be like a little Walter Mitty kid who's like, you know what? All right, I'm going to make the best of this shit smelling. Because again, we're all smelling each other's shit. It's fucking a horrible place, the men's bathroom. And also the fact that his dad is taking a shit with a little kid. This is why I don't have kids, folks. This is why I will never have kids, ever. Because if you know anything about me, I will not shit in a public place. I don't want to shit in a public place. It's not for me. But if I had a kid, like I've conditioned my body now to where I will not shit at all in a public place. It won't happen. I refuse to do it. It will not happen. But if I had a kid, somehow my body would relax because I'd be worrying about the kid, and it would let the shit guard down, and then I'd have to shit somewhere. And then I'd have to figure out what to do with that kid, because you know what? If I go in now and if I use the stall, I can hang my bags on a hook and do whatever I got to do if there's some sort of weird emergency. But if I get a little kid, I can't hang a little kid on a hook. I mean, I can't. Because then that's even worse, because then you hang him on the hook and he's staring at you and you're staring at him, and he's like, what, making eye contact while it's happening. It's like, oh man, you got to rush through it. You can't enjoy the experience, because that's all we want to do is we want to enjoy the experience. I can't in public, mind you. I mean, there was a time when I was a kid and I had to take the bus everywhere in Tahoe. I had a stall that was mine. Like the county may as well put a plaque on it. All right, because I went into the basement of the Harrah's Casino and I'd go through this labyrinth and I'd get to the farthest bathroom and I'd take the farthest stall at the end, and I would take all my clothes off and relax and use that bathroom. Because my bus wasn't coming for like 2 hours. So I would just because that's another reason why I don't shit in public. I take all my clothes off. You guys know this about me, all right? Fine. So I refuse to do it. And if I wanted to do that with the stall with my kid, I can't, because all my clothes are on the hook. Where am I going to hang my clothes if I got a 5-year-old hanging on a hook? So then I got to shit in my clothes, and then I got, it's like, it stinks, it's awful, and the kid's there. I just don't want anything to do with a kid. That's why I don't want kids. So this kid's in front of the stall, and he goes, "Dad, how much longer?" In a little kid voice that I'll spare you. And I couldn't help it. I'm just like, "Ha!" Like it was so funny and stupid. And that's another thing at the bathroom. You don't want to have emotion. You don't want to laugh or just joke. No, it's eyes front. Hands on cock, eyes front. Do your business. Get the fuck out of there. So this kid busts out, "Dad, how much longer?" And from inside the stall, his dad just goes, "One more second, Jordan." So they're having a conversation now through this 2 inches of steel as the father tries to use the restroom. And it was so funny. The resignation in his voice was so gorgeous because it was just like, "One more second, Jordan." Like, literally, what he wanted to say was, "I'm going to drown you in this shit-filled bowl, Jordan." Like, he was so over having a kid, over everything, because he was so powerless now in a stall shitting in public, which he probably didn't want to do because he's like me. But now he's got to take care of this kid too. It's just, he's probably wondering why the wife didn't take him. I don't know the backstory. All I know is in that one sentence, "One more second, Jordan," I heard all of this guy's hopes and dreams just come right out of him, just seep out. Literally, like, he's "One more second, Jordan," and in his head he's thinking, "I went to college. And now I'm discussing shit with this kid." I just, and the kid just popped his shit balloon too. I mean, just like he was there. Horrible. He hated it. All of his hopes and dreams of his life just completely. "One more second, Jordan. Just let me finish knotting the noose." So he says, "One more second, Jordan," and the other guys at the urinals now laugh. We laugh because it's funny. And so I'm using the bathroom, and everybody gets, and I'm making it. It wasn't this long, but it all happened fairly quickly. And a few more guys join the urinals, and we're there. And then I hear, "No, Jordan, oh God, no." And again, that could mean anything in the bathroom. I don't know what the fuck that is, because again, there's men with their cocks out and there's a 5-year-old in the room. Who knows what the fuck is happening? I don't even want to know, but I'm going to the bathroom and I hear it from behind me, and I look over my shoulder and Jordan has decided to get on the floor and climb under the stall into where his dad is. Jordan's finished guarding the door. Now he wants to get in and see what Dad's up to. And I look over my left shoulder and I see it happening, and I see it. I hear the dad. He's like, "No, oh God, Jordan, no," because he can't believe his own son is now on a shit-covered floor, and it's like a horror movie. It was like a horror movie. It's just this little boy is just crawling underneath. He's just and he's belly down, and he's like, "Stir." He's like, and I actually see the guy raise his foot and use it to like fend off his own son from climbing under the stall. You see him use the foot, and he tries to push the kid out. He's sliding him, and he's like, "No, Jordan, no! Oh God!" He's horrified. He's like, "Get off the shit-covered floor." He's pushing him with his shoe, and Jordan continues to relentlessly just come forward as he's crawling under the stall. I don't know if the guy was wiping or not. I mean, it's like watching a horror movie unfold before my very eyes, and it's funny because in my head, that might have scared the shit out of the guy, but that's perfect because that's exactly where he is. Good for him. If you're going to have the shit scared out of you, that's the place to have it happen. And then in my head, I'm like, well, maybe that's what Jordan was thinking. I'm going to scare the shit out of this guy so we can get the fuck out of here. I can stop guarding this door. But he's crawling and he's being held off at the foot. And all of us die. We die. All of us just start laughing at the fucking urinals because we're looking at the kid is like, and the kid's like laughing. Like he thinks it's a game. He thinks he's having fun. And his dad's just like, I just picture his dad sitting there with his balls in the water, just going, "Get out, Jordan, no." And just now put him on the hook. At that point, you got to put him on the fucking hook, right? The dad was horrified. It was like, it was like the aliens in the ceiling when they're just like crawling on their fucking elbows. The kid's trying to come under the stall and get to his dad. Oh fuck! I'm like, "Ha ha!" All of us are laughing, and the guy's horrified. He's not laughing at all. He was like, "No, Jordan, get up! No!" He's trying to be mean, but also trying to like stop him. The kid's just relentlessly crawling into the stall. Awesome. Could not stop laughing. Oh my Christ! We're all laughing. Everybody at the urinal. Cock in hand. Hilarious. I walked the fuck out of there, washed my hands. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I don't even want to know what's going to happen. So I left. I went and washed my hands at the sink. I bailed. Part of me wanted to stay and watch it unfold and watch them leave, but I'd seen enough. I mean, the kid was still climbing when I left. He's still crawling and crying. I gotta get out of here. And I did. I went to my gate, and I did not see them again, thankfully. I don't know where they went. I'm sure the dad went home. Like I said, he may have just shoved the kid into the fucking toilet and flushed it, went back out to the wife, and I don't know what happened to him. Someone grabbed him in the bathroom. Awful. So then we had to fly, and I had that image in my head. And as you know, folks, I wear my my earbuds on the plane, and I get on the flight to Atlanta. It's a nonstop, thankfully. I flew ATA Airlines, which we all enjoy. And you know what? I actually don't mind ATA. They give you the little Biscoff cookies, which is good because nobody else does. And I get out and there's nobody next to me. That's all. There's nobody in the middle seat, so fat guy sprawl. Let's do it. You know what I mean? I was fine. And I went to sleep. I wear my hood. I told you I wear my hoodie, and I put earbuds in, and I just put the hood over the top and fucking crash. So I was asleep while the waitress was doing the "here's how you don't die" speech. You know what I mean? I didn't fucking care. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna crash out, and I did. I put on my earbuds, and because I had not slept. And granted, thankfully, the excitement of Jordan and his fucking dad had gotten me through it. And it's funny, you know what? Because I don't sleep, I have this weird, stupid thing where I'm like, well, maybe I'll eat to stay awake, and that's not good, folks. That's gonna make you fat. But in my head, I'm gonna eat. So Gladstone's was by the ATA gate, Gladstone's for fish, and I was gonna have like a fish breakfast, you know. But I was like, because I wanted, like, honestly, if you're Gladstone's for fish, don't tease me. Make me some goddamn fish. But you go up and they had a breakfast menu. They're like, hey, we make eggs and bullshit. And I'm like, I don't want eggs and bullshit. I want fucking fish. You guys make fish, right? They had a breakfast burrito I could get, but then it was like $12, and I'm like, I don't want to fucking spend any money for that, you know. And it was just to stay awake. Like literally, I was just anything to keep the rhythm of the fork to mouth would keep me from fucking drooling on myself and falling asleep. But I decided against it. I don't think I didn't stare at the menu over and over and then talk and go ask questions. You guys sell fish this early in the morning? Awful. And then they had a window and you could see people scaling fish. I'm like, just throw one of them on the grill for me. How rough is that? I don't even care what kind it is. What's that? A tilapia? A fucking cod? Whip it up. Throw some breadcrumbs on it. Make me a goddamn fish. But no, it's all about eggs and shit like that because apparently the rest of the world has a thing about what they eat for breakfast. So I walk around and I get on the plane. I throw on my hoodie. They do the speech. I don't give a fuck. I go to sleep. We're in the air. We're flying. I assume I was asleep. I don't know. I got my earbuds on. And I'll wake up periodically. It's not like a sound all the way, rocket sleep all the way through to when we land. I'll wake up if there's some turbulence sometimes or, occasionally. But usually I'm pretty out. It's tough. It's tough to wake me up. So I'm sleeping, and I have no idea how long I'm asleep. But I'm jolted awake. Like jolted, like almost like that. And I wasn't dreaming. Like there was nothing, I didn't know what it was. I wake up and I had to orient myself to where I was. It was like, because again, when you don't sleep for fucking 20 hours or 25 hours, you fall into a rock sleep where you're really out of it. And then when you wake up, you kind of got to go, huh? You reacquaint yourself with the world. So I was out, man. I was dead to the fucking world. I wake up, I'm jolted awake, and I look around, and it's that thing where your eyes have to adjust, and you have to realize where you are, and you have to realize what's going on. And I am also I have music. That's all I hear is music because I have my earbuds in. So I can't hear what's going on around me, and I open my eyes, and I look, and I see, the window, and I register that I'm on a plane, and I've got the hood on my head, which is unnatural for me, so it feels weird. And Big Man on Mulberry Street is playing in my headphones, which is a Billy Joel song, and it's like, and it's so funny. And then I thought maybe that was what we got because that has all those horn blasts in it, like and I'm like, well, did that wake me up? Because I'm hearing that, and that's trying to orient yourself too. By the way, coming out of sound sleep with a fucking orchestra blaring in your head like fucking crazy, and so I wake up and that's and I'm looking around and I'm trying to figure out why I'm awake. And I'm on a plane. I registered that, and I got the music, and I got my hood, and I look around, and I realize I'm not the only person looking around. Everybody else is also kind of like looking. The guy next to me is he's got his brow furrowed. So I wonder if there was an announcement that I missed or something. And then it dawns on me. I realize I'm awake because of a smell. And I smell, like I start breathing, and I'm like, oh. It was brutal. Just this horrible smell to where I thought there was a problem on the plane. Like I thought, are we going down? Did I miss an announcement from the captain that there's a fire? I mean, it was just this disgusting. And it turns out as I orient myself and I wake up, there's a guy walking down the aisle. And as he's walking down, I see him pass everybody, and everybody looks at one another like nodding and kind of talking. He shit in the bathroom on the plane. and it went through the air and it circulated, and then he walked down and brought it, he drafted it all the way down. He crop dusted the entire fucking coach. He's walking and everybody, and I mean, it woke me up. That's how bad it was. That's how nasty this fucking smell was. It woke me up out of a sound fucking sleep. Because it was awful. It was just this. It was like almost metallic. I could taste it. Like it was that kind of a smell that you could taste in your mouth. It was so fucking gross, and I couldn't figure out what it was. I'm trying to place it because it was inhuman. It was really like inhuman. It was like how I figured it smelled when they found the crashed saucer at Roswell. Because it was like a burning alien. That's what a burning alien would fucking smell like. Because it was nasty. It was metallic, and it burned kind of in my throat, and I could taste it. I was like, oh fuck. But also it was inhuman. But there was also something decidedly human about it. Like if the alien that had burned to death was grain-fed. Like if the alien had somehow had eaten corn. You know what I mean? It was like that kind of a smell, the stink. You know what it smelled like? Because it smelled like you cooked an anchovy pizza in a cremation oven. That's how fucking... Because it was inhuman, but also human, and so then I wondered if he ate at Gladstone's. Like that went through my head. And how did he get the fish? Why did that guy get the fucking fish? I couldn't get any goddamn fish. Not only did he get fish, but he fucking destroyed the whole plane with it. So he crop dusted it, and it was just this horrible smell. Like I said, it was so fucking nasty and metallic and alien and foreign, but also very human. You know what it tasted like to me? It tasted like if somehow you took John Wayne Gacy's Crawl Space and you rolled it in a tortilla, you ate it and shit it out. That's what it smelled like to me. Oh my God. It was so gruesome, so brutal, so just awful. And like all of us are choking like this horrible face, someone like wiping tears out of their eyes. It was just this nasty stench. It was like you shit out an onion, like a shit onion that you pee, and then you cut it, then you chopped it in front of us. That's what it was. It was like he shit out a shit onion and then he chopped it up in front of us and made an onion shit chutney. Oh my God, was it disgusting. Woke me out of a sound fucking sleep. Dude, a stench woke me up. Just punched me in the face with a stink fist. God damn, this guy, I expected Father Karras to throw himself out of the window. That's how bad this stench was, as if he had somehow coaxed it out of the guy with a crucifix and then he threw himself down the stairs. Jesus fucking Christ, was it awful. And at that point, why are you shitting on the fucking plane? What is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong? Your shit. It's like if I was on the phone in a phone booth and a guy walked in and shit. That's how bad it is. This is a communal experience. We're all together, for fuck's sake. Don't ruin our lives. And you know what? You owe it at that point, because people are like, get a match or get a can of Lysol or some bullshit. That would have not helped. At that point, open the door. Open the fucking door. That's the only thing that would have fixed this. Because if it didn't fucking clear out the plane of stench, it at least would have killed us all. And that would have been fine. I was willing to die at that moment. As I looked around the plane and I saw everybody making the same look and looking at one another, this communal experience of being through a tragedy, I think it was at that moment, for the first time, I think I actually finally understood 9/11. All of us looking at one another, wondering what the fuck just happened and what we were going to do about it.
Oh, man.
And that guy, because you know that guy had shit out box cutters. I guarantee that guy had completely shit out box cutters. I almost stood up and looked around and went, let's roll, right? Let's roll. We're going to roll on this motherfucker, right? I'll take point on this thing. That guy's got to go down. Awful. Don't shit on the plane. So I looked around at everybody and we had that weird experience of like, yeah, that just happened. Yeah, that just fucking happened. And I closed my eyes, tried to drift back to sleep. That guy took a big shit on Mulberry Street. Brutal. So the rest of the flight uneventful, thankfully. Until when we all leave, and the thing was, he was oblivious. That was the thing. He didn't even fucking look sheepish. At least have the fucking decency to look sheepish about it. But he just walked down, crop dusted everybody, sat down. I'm sure even his seatmates were like, "What the fuck, dude?" Because then we got off, and I knew it was him. Because all I saw was his back as he walked away. But then when we got off the plane, he was ahead of me, and I saw him. He was adjusting his briefcase, and I knew it was him because everybody who filed off the plane stared at him and looked at him. This is, because we'd only been flying for I looked at my watch, it was only like an hour and a half or 2 hours in the air. We had another 2 hours to go. Still, though, when we landed, he got out and he's adjusting his briefcase on the counter and people are staring at the motherfucker and looking at him just like, you dick. You dick. And he just didn't care. You know what? Shit in the briefcase. You've got a briefcase there. Shit in that. Why? And then close it immediately and seal it up. And don't fucking pollute our fucking world. God damn it. Awful. All right, so. So I got to go, and then I rent my car. And then I go, and there was all right, look, there's an Asian guy at the counter. And the Asian's taking a beating. And word is out again, because Taiwan, they're like, he keeps us in a sweatshop and doesn't pay. But I rented from Advantage Rental Car. And I was really surprised to see an Asian guy, because it's the South. I don't know what I expected. You know what I mean? Look, I got off the plane and immediately started whittling. I just did that right away. I wanted to fit in with you people. So I go in and I rent my car, and nice man, Asian guy, and he gives me what did they give me this time? I had a Toyota Camry, and he told me, he said all that, because I had rented a midsize, I think, and because I should tell you this too, I didn't get the car till the day before, because I was at Priceline and they kept charging me $50 a car. It was every car that I wanted, it was $50 a day, and I'm like, I can't. That's fucking outrageous. That's crazy. And I should tell you this, I was staying in the hotel. I stayed in the Embassy Suites. A listener, I don't know if I mentioned this on here or not, David Watson, actually picked up my room.
Wow.
The entire time I was in Atlanta. When he found out I was coming, he went ahead and he said, I can take care of that if you want me to. He had offered before, and then I said, well, if you're serious, that's fine, but you don't have to. And within 15 minutes, I had a confirmation email from the Embassy Suites. So he picked up the entire time that I was there. So it cushioned the blow on having to rent a car for 4 days. Or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, Saturday. Yeah, I got it Wednesday to Thursday, Thursday to Friday. Friday. It's 3 days. But in order to make it 3 days, I had to be at the airport 4 hours early. But I didn't give a fuck. I was leaving town. So I rented the car, and they wanted They wanted $50 a day plus tax. And I'm just I waited and waited, and then finally the day before, they said, if you offer $32, we will give you can get this car. And I'm getting cars in towns for $14 a day. But $32, I went, fuck it, just do it. Getting into Kickstarter City, everybody's been very nice to fund that. So it comes right out of that pool. So I did that, and then you got to pay for the insurance. You know what I mean? So it's the car cost me $270 or whatever the fuck it was. But again, that's okay, because our friend David Watson took care of the hotel room. So I got in, and then I drove, and I will tell you this, I've never been, I'm not from the South, but I've been to Indiana. When you're driving, it really looks Southern. I know that sounds stupid to say, but it's just as you're driving, there's trees. I guess as opposed to here, because there's so much urban sprawl here. I mean, all there is buildings everywhere. So when I'm driving, to see these expansive, trees and grass and big fields, it was really cool. It reminded me of when I was a road comic and I used to drive through Indiana and places like that. You wouldn't see a fucking building for 50 miles. So I'm driving to get to the hotel, and I get to the city, and there's the Georgia Dome, and there's Turner Field, which I don't know if it's called Turner Field anymore. I think it is, where the Braves play. And I'm looking for my hotel, and I've got my phone is rolling, and everything's good. And I get to the Embassy Suites to check in, and there's a valet. There's no parking lot. Why? I'm used to it at this point. I'm used to getting fucked hard when I have to park my car. And I look at the valet stand, and it's luckily it's only $28 a night. For 3 nights. So that's, $85, whatever the fuck it was with tax. And the guy's like, yeah, we'll take your car. I go, just stay here. I'm checking in, and let me see if there's anything else I got to do. As always, I go to the desk. I go to check in. And I should tell you this, David Watson covered for me, because he has 1 million Hilton points or whatever. So he was able to get me the room. So I go, I'm in 843, and I said, the name is Schmidt. And they look me up, and they go, oh, we don't have you. I said, are you sure? I said, I have a reservation. And they go, no. And I said, look under Watson. Oh, Mr. Watson, good to have you back. And I said, oh, okay. Well, that's fine. I go, my name is Schmidt, and Mr. Watson got the room for me. And they're like, all right, well, it'll be under Mr. Watson. Just make sure you remember that. And I said, okay. And they asked for my ID. And I said, hold on a second. Whomp! And I put a book from the DMV on the counter. And that doesn't look too shady, right? A guy with another name checking into another guy's room. So all of a sudden, I'm Peter Griffin when he checked into Mel Gibson's hotel suite. And this dude looks at me and he's just like, well, what is this? And I go, it's from the DMV. I go, I have cards for incidentals. I have everything. It's just I don't have a driver's license at this point. And he's like, oh, well, all right, well, that's fine, I guess. And he runs it through and he goes, he asks David Watson's phone number. I don't know it. It's just all these hoops that I don't know. I said, if you call Mr. Watson, he will verify that I'm supposed to be here. And they go, well, no, that's fine. And I said, you know what? This might help. There's a package here for me. He goes, what? I said, there's a package here for Mike Schmidt. It came from Illinois, and it's here. I guarantee it. It's probably here waiting for me now. And he goes, well, we'll call. And they called security, and they said, do you have a package for Mike Schmidt? Yes, we have a box. Great. And I said, see, does that do anything for you? And it's like, he said, yeah, but it shouldn't have. When you think about it, that just means that the guy who's checking in under a fake name also had a bomb shipped to him. I mean, it's just, well, I don't know why I thought that was going to help. Hey, by the way, I had an unmarked package delivered to you guys. Is that going to get me in the door? Yes, it is. Of course it is. God damn it. I don't want to blow up my Camry. Because they boosted me up. I don't know if I mentioned that to the little Asian fella. He's like, hey, you know what? We don't have any midsize. We'll give you a full size of Camry. I said, fantastic. Yeah. Because he heard words out. Again, I'm popular. Asians. All right. So he goes to check me in and then he goes, can I get the phone? So he grabs the phone. And there was another girl actually a cute girl working the desk, Kadisha. And I saw her name and I went, I go, Kadisha, right? And so I'm in already. Because then she's like, yeah, oh my gosh, nobody ever gets that right. I said, yeah, you know who gets it right? Me. Me, the fake guy, fake David Watson who's checking into this room. I might as well have a fake mustache on. Honestly, it was awful. And I also haven't slept. My eyes are all bloodshot. I look fucking terrible. I probably still have residual fucking Gacy stink on me from the goddamn plane. Awful. So, but she was very nice, Kadisha. And I said, hey, Kadisha. And security calls back and says, we're coming up with the package. And I said, hey, do you guys have Wi-Fi in the rooms? I'm sorry, we don't. And I'm like, it's this amazing hotel. There's a Ruth's Chris in the lobby. And I'm like, you don't have a Wi-Fi? She goes, no, we have Ethernet in the room, and it's $10 a day. I said, $10 a day. And she goes, well, what room are you in? And I said, 843. And she clicks it up. She goes, oh, Mr. Watson, no, because you're an advanced Hilton member. Just sign in, and they'll take those off when you check out. It's not a problem. I think I enjoy being Mr. Watson, quite frankly. Fantastic. So she's like squaring away, and Kadisha and I'm waiting, and then a woman comes up and she's got my huge box of T-shirts. I'm like, yay! So I grab those. They don't make me sign anything. They don't. It's the weirdest. Like again, I don't have ID. Like I have a thing. I mean, I've got ID from the DMV, so I guess that was good enough. So I go upstairs. I take my shirts, and it's Wednesday. I should say I get there on Wednesday, and I put my stuff down. I get into the suite, and it is a fucking suite. I walk in, there's a living room with a couch, a chair, coffee table, flat screen, and a work desk. And then I go through the hallway where the restroom and then the closet are across from one another into the bedroom, where there's my king-size bed with 18 pillows and fucking a flat screen in the bedroom too, and a view of Centennial Park, because David Watson had requested a view of the park. Because apparently he wanted to fuck me. So... He wanted me to gaze longingly into the lights of the CNN building as he plowed me from behind. So, and again, I'm obligated at that point to let him, right? Right? I'm just there counting the hours until he shows up. So, and again, I'm not sleeping. You could talk me into anything at that fucking point. I'm wishing Kadisha would have said, hey, you want me to come up with those shirts? Yes, absolutely. Let's do it. I'm fucking half out of it. So I get into the room and I immediately set up my computer. I get that squared away. And I should tell you, I did not, I talked last week about all these people. I had plans with people who wanted to get together with me in Atlanta. And then all of those people decided they did not want to get together with me in Atlanta. They all kind of bailed on me, which is fine. And I contacted, there was a couple named Alice and John, and they had asked if I wanted to go out for Korean food or hang out with them. And I said, yes. When are you coming to town? They're coming to town on Friday. Well, I don't do anything Friday, folks. You know that. I'm locked up in my room learning jokes. So I got to town early, though, for Wednesday and Thursday. So I'm in, and I then checked with them. No. And then I mentioned Stacy last week on the show, and Stacy told me that he was going to be unable to see me for dinner, which is fine. Whatever the fuck. I don't care. So on Wednesday, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do for myself. And I go, well, you know what? There are places I wanted to go while I was in town. I had a dinner reservation for Thursday night. And I had been told by this guy, Joe, that I had to go to a restaurant called Mary Mac's Tea Room, which is a home cooking Southern from scratch food. And I was like, all right, you know what? I could maybe work that for lunch on Saturday because I wasn't leaving till late. Because again, I left all this time budgeted for all of you people who wanted to see me in Atlanta. But there was another place I wanted to go. There's a guy named Richard Blaze who he was on Top Chef and lost, but he was an amazing chef. And then he was on Top Chef All Stars and won. And he should have won. He's just that guy. He's one of those dudes who can take liquid nitrogen and then he flash freezes a turkey and it's the most delicious thing you've ever eaten in your fucking life. I mean, it's great. So he has a restaurant in Atlanta called Flip Burger. And it's like a casual dining burger joint, but done fancy with fancy food. And I talked myself into it. I'm like, dude, well, Blaze's place, I got to go there. That's exactly where. So I decided I'm going to go to Flip Burger. But instead, so I'm in the room and I'm killing time and I'm online and I'm answering some Twitters and some Facebook stuff. And then I turn on the TV and I'm watching the TV and I talk to Karen. I tell her I'm in town and I'm looking out at the park and I'm like, you know what? You should take a nap. Why don't you just take a fucking nap? No, because I'm wired at that point. I'm in the room and like I said, I threw my t-shirt box down. Now I'm unpacking. I shake out my shirts. Everything's squared away. And I go, you know what? I got to go. You know what I'm going to do? And I had made plans because I already bought a ticket before I left town. I decided that night, because none of you wanted to get together with me, I was going to the basketball game. I was going to go see the Atlanta Hawks. So I go, well, I got to go to Flip Burger first, but I don't even know where the building is. So I use my phone and I look for Phillips Arena from the Embassy Suites Centennial Park, and it's 0.4 of a mile away. And so I'm like, well, fuck, because I already bought a ticket in Chicago and printed it out, but now I don't even have to drive. So I go downstairs and I'm like, I'm going to Flip Burger. So I drive out, and Flip Burger is all the way up Piedmont Street. So I'm sorry, I got to take Marietta up past Piedmont. I got to go all the way up Marietta. So I go up past Marietta and I'm driving on Marietta. And as I'm driving, because Marietta is where the hotel is. So I turn right and I drive. And I have to go up Marietta to, this is my first experience driving in Atlanta, other than from the airport to the hotel. And now I'm driving in the actual city, and I'm on Marietta. And I want to thank the city council and the mayor of Atlanta. I want to thank you guys for deciding that you don't need street signs anywhere at all. What the fuck is wrong? I guess in the South, y'all know where you're going all the time. Because I sure the fuck didn't. I'm driving. I'm looking for like markers. I had to be the blue dot on my phone. And I had to see when I was close and realize where I was turning and where I was not turning. But I'm driving up Marietta. But I will tell you this. I'm driving up Marietta. And there I see, oh, look, a strip club. Like a mile from the hotel. And then I'm driving and like, oh, look, there's another strip club. That's Diamonds. And I keep driving. And I'm like, oh. And so I'm mentally noting them. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to go. Of course I'm not going to go. Even though I had mentioned full contact strip clubs on the show last week. And so I'm like, well, whatever the fuck, just drive. It's 5 o'clock. You got a basketball game to go. Just drive. So I drive, and I'm looking for Flip Burger. I finally find it, and I pull in a Flip Burger by myself, and I look at the menu, and he had like a Korean burger with sesame crispies and kimchi, and then he had, just all that funky stuff. And then I ordered it, and I took a picture of it actually, and it had it was like a potato salad and some onion rings and a burger, and then a peanut butter Captain Crunch milkshake. And so I ordered all this food, and I looked at it, and then I ate it, and it was a fucking hamburger. Like, it was like, so I was so geeked, but and it had brisket, like it had barbecue brisket on it and stuff. That was his RBQ, the Richard Blaze burger. And because I could have gotten, I was going to get that Korean burger, but I'm like, we have Koji here, because we're spoiled in California. I can get this stuff because we have like 5 fancy burger joints. We have Fuku Burger, we have fucking Umami Burger, and I've gone to them, and then we have In-N-Out, which isn't even fancy, but it just fucking destroys all those other joints. They don't have to charge fucking $11 for a hamburger. The potato salad was the best thing I ate. Let me amend that. Best thing I ate. Then they brought that fucking shake, and it's a Captain Crunch milkshake with peanut butter foam, and they make it with liquid nitrogen. And she said she brings it over, and Mindy was my waitress, and she's like, "Hey, you got to wait for all that smoke to go away before you drink the shake." Because I don't know if my tongue will stick to it like a pole in the winter. I have no idea what's going to happen. Because when they brought it, because again, I in my head I was like, I got to dip my balls in that milkshake like immediately. So it's a good thing she warned me. Because my fucking balls would have had a peanut butter beard the rest of the weekend. You know what I mean? It would just be able to just fucking attach themselves on there. So I let it roll. I let it calm down. And I took a couple bites of my burger. The potato salad was real good. It was like a warm potato salad with pickled onions and bacon. I mean, it was so good. Or I should say bacon and pickled onions. The bacon was not pickled. I dangled my participle there. So Don't want to do that. So and then I ate it and I'm eating it. I'm just going, it's just a hamburger meal. I mean, it's just a meal. It was good. You know what I mean? But it didn't fucking blow me away. But also, that's because I have no joy. I have no joy left in my life, folks. I mean, I love these things and I love food and I love doing that sort of stuff. But at the same time, I put import on things that don't mean anything, quite frankly. I was all excited to go see Blaze, and Blaze doesn't cook there. That's another thing. In the back, they said, hey, why don't you go sit where you can look into the kitchen? Well, I look into the kitchen, and it's every other kitchen in the world. It's a bunch of Colombians and Hispanics just back there making my hamburger. You know what I mean? Seriously, I mean, it was just, it was like I was waiting for a coyote to screech up with the truck and the night shift to get off. So I ate my stuff. That's fine. I bailed. And it was getting closer to game time, so I got to drive back. And I valet the car. I asked them where the stadium is. They point me. I walk over, and I get into the, it's a good stadium. It's fun. And it's so funny. I'm a guy, I like sports. Like, I mean, I don't mind seeing, I went and saw the Atlanta Hawks play the Golden State Warriors. And I told somebody that, and they're just like, why do you care? Like, why would you even go to that? Well, because it's a fucking new stadium, and I love the NBA, and it's just fun. It's good to be in there. I mean, you see professional athletes doing their thing. But holy fuck, it was a boring game. It was. It just was. Atlanta's a boring team. Golden State's a boring team. Although it was fun to watch isolations. There's this guy. No, you don't care. I'm not going to analyze basketball for you people. But I went for the whole game, 2.5 hours, and it ended. And I was like, all right, well, what am I going to do now? I've got to figure out something to do with my life. So it was raining when I left. And I walked out of the stadium, and I get over, and I still hadn't slept. And now it's like 10:30. And I need a I'm like, I got to go get some groceries. I got to get some Propel and all that stuff. So I asked the valet, I go, hey, I'm looking for a Publix, like a supermarket. And he tells me I got to go up Marietta and take a right on Ivar Allen Boulevard and then a left on Piedmont, and I'll see it. So I drive, and I get impatient when I take the right, and I don't see Piedmont enough, so then I turn on Peachtree, and it's the wrong place, and then I'm looking at my phone, I'm driving in circles, and Publix, by the way, closes at 11. So he told me it was like 10:20 when I got over there, and he's like, go over here. So now I'm driving in circles, and I'm parked, and I'm looking, I'm resetting current location, terrible. Finally, I get my way to Piedmont, and I drive onto Piedmont, and I go down to the Publix, and Publix is a grocery store. I walk in, it's about 20 to 11, they close at 11. Still people in there shopping. And a friendly manager is walking by, and I go, hey, do you guys have Propel? And he goes, oh, yeah. And because I was in the water aisle. I looked in the soda aisle, and now I'm in the water aisle. There's no Propel. He goes, yeah. And he brings me all the way to the back of the store. I don't know why the Propel is the fucking Rosa Parks of drinks, but it is. Move it to the front. Rosa would go, so move the Propel to the front. So I go to the back of the fucking store, and I found the Propel. And they had the individual big bottles, but then they had 6-packs, which I found easier to buy on the road. And they had berry and they had black cherry, and those were $4.29. And then they had blueberry pomegranate, which was $3.99 a 6-pack. I don't know why it was 30 cents cheaper, but guess what Mike's buying? So I scooped up 4 6-packs of that because I need that for 2 days. I scooped those up, and then I go and I grab some water. I grab some bananas because that's what I am. I'm a chimp. And so now I go to checkout. So I go to the front of the store, and in the little 15 items or less aisle, there's a cashier guy, and he's a young man. He's probably like 22, and he's gay. And you're like, how do you know that? He's just a cashier. Well, I knew he was gay because of his voice was kind of sing-songy. And you might wonder, how did I hear his sing-songy voice when I go to the counter? Well, because this guy decided to sing out loud with the Rihanna that was playing over the loudspeaker. And I'm not even joking. Like where he was like, he was like, you're my umbrella, and like he's like singing the Rihanna song, and he's bopping his head back and forth as he's scanning the people in front of me, and I'm just like, all right, dude, I don't give a fuck, dude. I used to work in a grocery store, and I was an idiot. So I'm gonna go ahead, be an idiot. That's the thing, and that's a story I'll tell you another time. But anyway, he worked in this grocery store, and he's singing. He decided to sing. It's almost closing time. I don't care. I'm fine with that. So I get in line, and right behind me, a little Asian guy gets in line right behind me. And now I'm starting to think I'm being followed. Maybe my strike breakers didn't do a good enough job, and these guys have sent like a surrogate to America to follow my every move. So they have dirt to use on me later. So me and the Asian guy are in line. This guy's singing and taking his fucking time, quite frankly. He is moving at his pace. He may be singing Rihanna, but he's not one of the dancers. He's doing whatever the fuck he wants. So he scans the 2 people in front of me, and it takes like 6 minutes to get 2 people checked out, and it's a 15 minutes or less line. I mean, and I should tell you this: the guy in front of me, there were 2 of them. The second guy writes a check. And that's like an old joke. Like comedians would tell the guy writes a check or whatever. It's in old movies and stuff. But it really happened. He wrote a check. Who writes a check in a grocery store anymore? Holy shit. I couldn't believe it. And he was young. He wasn't like an old man because old people are ridiculous. And so they do stupid shit like that. He pulled out his checkbook. And I was like, ha ha, yes, of course. And again, I haven't slept. So the whole thing's like a dream anyway. I may have dreamed the check. So we get to the front and then Antoine looks at me and he's like, how you doing tonight? And I said, I'm fine. And he takes the stick off and he starts to scan my stuff. And Blueberry Pomegranate Propel comes up at $4.29. And he rings it all up and he tells me how much the total is. I go, look, I just want to tell you, in the back, the tag is wrong. It's $3.99 for that particular flavor. He goes, what? And I said, yeah, it's $3.99 for this. There's other Propel that's $4.29, but it says right on the shelf, $3.99 for this particular flavor. So I'm just letting you know. And he goes, hold on. And he walks away from the register and he walks around and I realize he's going to do a price check. He's not going to call anybody to do it for him. He's going to go look himself. And as he goes and looks, he dances. I don't know how else to put it. You can't see me, but he struts. Like he basically crunk walks back to the, I mean, he crip walks his way back to the fucking Propel. Like he stops and he kind of he's just kind of moving and he's literally dancing slowly, by the way. He's not busting his ass. I mean, he's going to walk back and check out the prices. And I go, it's okay. You don't, dude, it's 30 cents. It's no big, and he completely ignores me and he's singing and he dances and he disappears around the corner. And I'm standing there, and I look at the little Asian dude who looks at me, and he goes, I can't believe this. And I go, exactly. And I'm waiting, and I run my card, and I pay. I pay even though it says $4.29. I don't give a fuck. I just want to get out of there. So I run my card to pay it, but unfortunately he has to hit the button to release it, so I have to wait for him. And then I bag my groceries. He's gone. A song. 4 minutes. He goes. And then he comes back up another aisle. Like he walked down this aisle and then walked over and then came up another aisle. And I'm standing there and he's just dancing. He comes walking up and he goes, you right. I was right, apparently, folks. So he goes to the register and he goes, well, and he starts looking for the groceries. I go, well, I bagged him. I just want to pay and take off. He goes like, no. And he voids the order. And he goes, here, just give me him. So he's got to rescan everything.
Oh,
so I go in the bag and I give him I go, you need all of it? He goes, just one. And he goes to scan it and it comes up. He does it at $3.99. Like he punches in a certain key. And then I should tell you the bill was, it was like $23. I don't know, 22 something. So now he does it and it's $11.50. Or something like it. It's like $10 off, something ridiculous. So I go, are you sure that's right? He goes, yeah, that's right. And I go, you're positive? And he goes, yeah. And I go, all right. So I run my card and I pay for it. And he gives me the receipt. And I get everything gathered up. I go to leave. There's this line out the fucking door because he was gone. And I look at the receipt. He only charged me for 2 of the Propels, 2 of the 6-packs. I had bought 4 of them. And in my head, I'm like, well, is that like a penance? Like, is there like a penalty that they pay if they're wrong and they give you because I will tell you this when I used to work in a grocery store. If the price scanned doesn't match the shelf, you get the shit for free. Yeah. So I was supposed to get all 4 for free, I guess, but I was just happy to get 2 for free. I didn't give a fuck. I would have paid the $4.29 and gotten the fuck out of there. I didn't realize that he was going to fucking Alvin and Ailey his way to the back of the goddamn store. And I get my stuff together and I fucking walk outside with my cart and I go to my car and as I'm putting the stuff in the trunk, the little Asian guy walks in. He goes, I can't believe that. Could you believe that? And I go, no, it was weird. So then he stops to talk to me right there in the middle of the parking lot. He's like, I couldn't believe he was dancing. He was dancing and singing. And then he's walking to the back. What is wrong with him? I don't understand. And I go, I don't know. It's crazy. He goes, I'm never coming back here again. And I go, yeah, me neither. He goes, oh, do you live here? And I go, no, I don't. I'm in town. I'm on vacation. He goes, oh, I live here. I'm like, great. I'm glad you live here. Okay, bye. And he just walks away. So I'm like, did he want me to invite him out? I mean, what the fuck? We're bonding over shitty Antoine because it was Antoine was his name. I should tell you that because I'm like, Antoine, you don't need to, Antoine. And he just fucking walks to the back. So yeah, and I packed up my car and I got to go back to my room. So I just fucking went back. I unpacked. It's like midnight by the time I get back. And then of course I had to stay up because it's Wednesday night. The podcast is coming out. So I have to stay up to do my email blast and all my Facebook stuff. But I don't like doing that until the show is released. I could have done it. But then you would have gotten, you see, I picture everybody at home waiting at their computer. And then once they see the email, they go, show's done. And then they go ahead and they download the show. The way I pictured is my email blast is like it's like that little red pop-up turkey timer of my podcast. So when you see it, you're like, turkey's finished. And you know to go get it. You know, ding. It should ding when it hits your inbox. So I have to wait until the show is up because I can't, it's false advertising to send you an email about the show and then not have a show. I know that's stupid. It's probably not the case for you guys. You guys are like, nobody fucking cares. We delete your email immediately. But for me, I think that you can't wait to read it. And that once it's there, you immediately know the show is there and we're all in this together. So I have to wait because I also have a 3-hour time difference. So I'm up, I'm watching the Food Network. I'm drinking Propel. I'm eating bananas. And and it's funny, there was all this leftover Blaze food and I didn't bring it. I should have. I had a fridge in the room. God damn it. And then I was hungry and I'm like, should I go find some food? I go, no, don't drive. You've got the car in the valet. Who cares? So I'm waiting and time's ticking by. And Lily, I told her, I said, put the show up at 2:00 a.m. on Wednesday night, your time. So that'll be 5 a.m. my time. So my phone rings at 4 a.m. my time and I grab it and it's her. And she's half asleep. She's like, hi, show's up. I'm so tired. It downloaded. I'm so tired. I said, that's fine. You know, that's because it saved me an hour because I hadn't slept. So I needed to get the email out to you guys. So then I sit down and what's funny is I could have written the email in the interval and had it ready. Nope. No, why would I do that? I have to write it in the moment, folks. That's how I do things. I have to do things in the moment. I have to make sure that it's taken care of. So then I sit down and now it is 4 a.m. and the show's up. Aha, crack my knuckles. Let's write some jokes. So I go to write the email. And I have to think of the jokes that are in the email. I don't know. Again, you guys just delete it immediately, but it's different all the time. There's some narrative that's the same, but I change a lot of the email every week because I feel like I have to. I owe it to you guys. And again, I understand you deleted it immediately, so it's just for my tiny brain. So I start writing it, and I start thinking of jokes, and I have to lean back, and I'm looking, and then I get distracted because I wind up looking at stuff on the internet, and I guess that's how I do it. I have no focus. So sure enough, I'm writing the email blast, and then I finish it, and I send it out. And now it's like 5:45 a.m. by me. And I now have to do all of the Facebook page. I have to update all the cities. I have to write down, I have to do that. I have to send out the Twitter blast. I have to send out a tweet letting people know the show's ready. Whatever. I have to do it, but that's fine. So I should tell you now, for some reason, because it's later in the year, it's getting lighter sooner. So I'm in the living room, and there's no natural light in the living room. Because it's just the window looks out on the courtyard for the hotel. But if I walk into the bedroom, I can see Centennial Park. There's a huge window. So out of the corner of my eye, I spy like the sun is coming up in the bedroom. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So I go in the bedroom and I look and it's kind of light outside. And I get to see the park when it's light. It's nice. It was dark. Now I decide, you know what? I can lay down for 5 minutes. And I'm wrong. It was 6:35. It was not 5:35 because it took me, it didn't take me a couple hours to write the email. It took me time to focus on writing the email and thinking of the jokes and then looking around on the internet and staring at stuff and reading. All right, so it's like 6:37. I remember that distinctly because there's a digital clock. So I go into the bedroom and it's nice out and I lay down on top of the bed. I don't get in the covers. I don't even have a pillow. I lay face down and I look at the digital clock. Like, all right, because I said in my head, I go 6:42. You'll get up and then I'll be fine. So 6:37, I close my eyes, and then I open my eyes, and it's 11:45. And I have not moved. I have laid. I didn't get under the covers. I didn't grab a pillow. I have not moved, folks. The only reason I woke up is because the sun now is on me, and it was hot, and it woke me up through the window. And I looked, and it was like I said, it was 11:30. 11:45 or whatever the fuck, and I wake up and my face, first of all, by the way, has got to be covered with the DNA of millions of people because I slept on top of the comforter with my face on it, So it's like I practically had to rip it off my face like Velcro because I'd been drooling all night. You know what I mean? So I drooled into it. So all of the inactive sperm that had been into that comforter had been rehydrated and attached themselves to my face and then dried. So then I had to peel the cover off me. Just had to peel my face off. And I sat up and I'm like, oh, God damn it. What the hell? And it's like I walk out, I throw some water in my face, and I go, the computer is still on. You know what I mean? It's at screensaver mode, but it's still up in the living room. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? Because I had dinner reservations that night, and there's an aquarium right by the hotel. I was gonna go check that out, and I figured out what I was gonna do, and it was in Atlanta. And I'm like, well, I don't even know, man. I got all of Thursday to go out and see the town. I was gonna go to the theater. I had all sorts of plans. So I wake up and I'm like, fuck, I gotta get a shower. I go, well, that'll wait. You gotta do the Facebook stuff. Now you have to do that. Well, here's the problem. When I do my stuff overnight, nobody's awake because I'm the only person in the world who's awake at that time. So I'm updating the Facebook page, and as I'm doing it, it can go up and not be remarked upon or commented upon. It can go up, and I can just keep plodding along. Well, I wake up at 11:45, and everybody in the world the world is awake. So as I start updating the Facebook page, I throw water in my face. I sit down, I grab a Propel and a banana because that's all I've had for 2 days after the burger. And then I start working on the computer. And as I'm updating the Facebook page, people are writing me on Facebook. They're commenting, or they're writing me notes, or they're all that. And so I have to answer them back because that's what I do. I answer them on Facebook, and then I send to Twitter, and then people start tweeting me, and they start tweeting about the show, and then I have to answer them, and then I have to answer on Facebook, and I'm trying to update that. And also, I have to think of jokes for Facebook. Like, I don't just update it. I have to write something for every single thing because that's who I am, and then people are commenting on those, and then I'm answering them back. And then I wind up surfing the net, and then it's daytime, and I hate giving away daytime, as you know. So I'm in the room, and and before I know it, I look up, and it's 3:00. And I have dinner reservations at 8:30. And I could have then gotten a shower and gone out to the aquarium, but I'm still on Facebook. I'm still on Twitter. Now I'm reading Twitter. Now I'm absorbed in that, where I'm reading it and reading articles and columns, and I'm diving into that hole. And I may as well have had chains on my ankles. I sat at the desk until 7:00 p.m. I was online, reading and doing internet stuff, and also losing focus and going and checking out sports stuff and everything else. I was on for 8 hours. It was like an 8-hour job. I sat there and I answered people's tweets and Facebook stuff, and I answered some emails, and not enough, but some, and plodded forward. And I should tell you this. Remember last week on the show, I was like, oh man, I talked about Stacy and how he canceled on me. He posts on my Facebook page, he's like, oh, no, I guess my new name is Backup Plan. And it was, and then I go to my email, and there's an email from Stacy. I'm out. I can't make the show. I just got called I got to coach my kid's soccer game Saturday, and there's no way I can make it. And so in my head, I go, well, somebody didn't enjoy this week's podcast. Well, no, because he's written me since, which is fine. And I just wrote him back. I go, you'll be missed. That's all I wrote, because if he was being a baby about it, like, I wasn't going to play the game and go, please come, whatever the fuck. And and by the way, if he was offended in any way, and I said that now, what a dick. But he wasn't. He's written me since, and everything's fine. But still, all right. And also, I mentioned Frances last week. Did I talk about that on here? I said that she wrote me so many times. Has not written me since. Like, did not write me at all. Until yesterday, she wrote me to update me that we had been rejected by the White House. We will not be attending the White House. Yes, they said no. It's too busy, I guess. But when she didn't write me, in my head, I'm just like, great. He bails on the show. She didn't write me. It's just, everybody wants me to be scorched earth, but nobody wants to be the earth. So I'm in the hotel. And I should tell you this. You know what? I called the theater because I hadn't spoken to the theater. I booked the theater, sent my money, and they wanted half the money up front, and they wanted the rest later. But they wanted it in a cashier's check. It was the fucking weirdest. I go, look, if you want a cashier's check, I'm sending it all to you. I don't, you know what I mean? So I paid for the whole theater. So I never talked to them again, and I just started selling tickets. So Thursday I called them, and I call the theater, and I get Tommy on the phone at the Fabrifaction, and I go, hey, hi, who am I speaking with? Tommy. I said, Tommy, I'm looking for Jono, because Jono is the I don't think he's the creative director, but he's who I dealt with, and he goes, I'm sorry, Jono no longer works here at the theater. I said, okay, then I need to speak with Dee Dee, because Dee Dee is the managing director for the theater. I'm sorry, Dee Dee no longer works here at the theater. And I go, oh, this is going to be an awkward phone call, Tommy. Because those are the people I dealt with when I booked the theater for this weekend. And he goes, are you the comedian? And I go, yes. And he goes, oh my God, they've been waiting to hear from you. Where have you been?
Where have you been?
I said, I've been in California where you have my phone number and my address, and I sent you a check. You know how to get a hold of me if you want. You also have my email address. And he's like, oh, okay, well then, Jeff really needs to talk to you. He's been looking to hear from you forever. And I'm like, again, I spoke with Jeff on the conference call. You have my information. I sent it when I sent the check. And he's like, all right, well, you know what? I go, well, let me talk to Jeff. Jeff's not here. Okay. He goes, but he needs to talk to you. So here's his cell number. So he gives me Jeff's cell number. And I called Jeff, and I said, he answers the phone. I go, I said, this is Mike Schmidt. He goes, oh my gosh, we've been waiting to hear from you. I go, sounds like some turmoil over at the Fabrifaction, huh, Jeff? He's like, we've had quite a bit of turnover, yes. And he goes, but everything's fine for you. I'm still doing your tech. And he was great. Everything was fine. It seemed like it was squared away. I found out, I said I'd be there at 6. He goes, I'll be there for you. He says, you know what? Right now, we're set up to do the show in the round because that's what's performing in our space. I'm sure you don't want that. I said, I do not. He goes, well, do you mind like a horseshoe? Is that cool? Or how do you want it set up? I go, whatever's easier for you, but I need to be in front of people. I said, I can't have anybody behind me. It has to be like a regular show. And I don't know anything about the space. I've never been there. I just saw it online. He's like, okay, great. We'll take care of it. We'll set it up. And how many seats do you need? And I wasn't sure. We talked. And he said, great. I'll see you tomorrow. I set up the time. So now I've got to get showered and go to dinner. So it's Thursday. I drive out to the Woodfire Grill. And it's out on Piedmont and Cheshire Bridge. I don't know. Cheshire Bridge Road. I don't know fucking clue. All I know is I'm driving. And I'm driving on Piedmont. And if you go to Atlanta, folks, if you're going to Atlanta and you're thinking to yourselves, where can I find all of the horrible red light district businesses? Contact me because I will point you in the direction of Piedmont. Now, it's almost like the city threw down the gauntlet and challenged me at that point. Because I'm driving to go just eat. I'm going to a regular dinner reservation and I see like 4 adult bookstores and I see strip clubs and I'm looking. And it's so funny. I'm driving, and I missed the Woodfire a few times because there's this intersection of it's like Piedmont and Cheshire Bridge, and then something else. It's not even they have like a 4-way stop because there's no signs. There's no fucking signs. I don't know where I'm at. I know I'm on Piedmont because that's where I turned. But as I'm driving, I'm looking, and I missed it. I missed it 3 different times, and then I got down by the highway, and then there's the Peekaboo, and the Peekaboo is another adult bookstore, and right next to it is another joint. It looks like a strip club, and then there's another strip club, and then I start seeing spas that are open 24 hours. And I'm like, you're fucking kidding me. This entire town it was like I drove into 4chan. It was the most ridiculous thing. It was total porn festival. I'm like, oh my, this is all right. This is great. But yet I'm going to dinner. I don't want this. And it's funny when I had left, I had talked on here about the full contact strip club and the phenomenon of that. And I had mentioned it on the show. And then Karen, who's my wife, listened to the show and didn't say anything to me until we got to LAX. And when I got to LAX, we're driving in, and she goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I have the dinner reservation, and I don't know. These people canceled on me." She goes, "Oh, are you going to any full contact strip clubs?" And I said, "Well, I said I talked about it, but I don't think that's happening. Probably, I don't." And then there's a beat, and I'm getting my stuff, and she just goes, "You have my permission."
I love Karen.
I said, "What?" She goes, "If you want to go to a strip club, then it's fine. I'm okay with it." And those of you that are married out there, you realize that it's your job at that point to go, "Nah, come on. I would never do something like that." Because just the magnanimous gesture of your wife being okay with it is supposed to be enough to satisfy you and all of your carnal urges. Just the fact that she's so cool should reiterate the fact that you love her more than anything, and you would never go to one of those places because she's cool enough to let you. Just the fact that she's cool enough to let you go makes you not want to go. That's what's supposed to happen. So I'm driving, and I see the Peekaboo in these other places, and I'm making mental notes of everywhere that's around. And I shoot through this one fucking intersection and I don't realize that's Cheshire Bridge Road. I have no clue because there's no fucking sign. And it's not even, let's put it this way, it's not even a fucking There's no sign. I say a 4-way stop, but it's got that thing where there's like 10 stoplights on zip lines and they're all facing a different second. It's not even a 4-way stop. It's an asterisk stop. That's what it is. It's like zoom, 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 zoom. There's like an X with a cross through it. And I don't know where the fuck to go. I don't know where to go. So I'm driving, and then finally I just gamble. And because I take like 3 of the streets and I'm wrong. I see a ton of porn places, but no fucking food. And then finally I take another one, and I've got my phone. I'm trying to follow my phone, and I'm looking around. And I get into this lane, and I turn left, I turn right, and I wind up in a parking lot. And it's telling me you are 470 feet from where you're supposed to be. But I can't see it. So finally I come and I see this tiny W like outside on a sign. That's it, Wood Fire Grill. That's because I'm looking for a sign. Fuck that. I just see this tiny W because they're fucking pretentious. So I pull in. There's a valet, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And he's like, whoa, what? I go, there's no streetlights, no names, no anything around here. I go, it's just literally porn and darkness. And he's just staring at me. He's like, all right, give me your keys. And I walk in. And they're very nice. I should tell you this: when I made the reservation, I said the name Mike Schmidt, and the guy said, "Are you calling for the baseball player?" Like he thought I was calling for Mike Schmidt, the baseball player. And I said, "No, unfortunately." I said, "I'm Mike Schmidt." He's like, "Oh, you know there's a baseball player?" I go, "Oh, absolutely." I go, "He was my idol growing up," and he goes, "My wife is a huge Phillies fan." I said, "Great, so am I." And he was very friendly and nice. So I go in to eat, and they seat me alone, and I'm alone. At the table, and so I'm bored, so I decided that I was going to Twitter. I was going to live tweet my meal at Woodfire Grill. And I put it out there. I actually said, look, folks, I even tweeted. I said, look, I'm alone. If you want to have a seat, go ahead. I took a picture of an empty chair, and whoever stuck around. And it was awesome because all the people on Twitter followed me, and they like talked to me while I ate. It was like having 1,800 friends with me as I ordered food. And I should tell you, the Woodfire Grill is the chef there is famous. He was on Top Chef as well. His name is Kevin Gillespie. And he was a guy that Karen and I really loved. We were rooting for him, and he did not win. But we wanted him to win so bad because he was nice. He looked like my brother Glenn. And his food looked amazing. He cooked pork like all the time. Like everything he cooked was pork. So I said, I'm going to this restaurant and I am going to fuck up some pork. Like I even Twittered it. I said, I'm going to cool hand Luke this joint, but fuck 50 eggs. I'm eating 50 pigs. I don't care. So Lashana brings me the menu. I start looking at it, and they had a starter, and the starter they had a charred broccoli soup, and I'm like, that sounds really good because charred broccoli with like pickled onions and stuff sounded good to me. But then they also had a Brussels sprouts salad, and I love fresh. And I also figured I needed something in my stomach for the pigs to graze on to come. So I said, you know what do you? I asked her what she thought. She's like, I think the salad is the best thing because I was actually maybe going to get both. But I said, you know what? I'll go Brussels sprout salad. And it didn't have. I said there was no pork in it. You know what I mean? It's like literally I looked at the menu. Everything else is pork except the salad. I go, finally, I'll take a break from pork early, but then we'll build up into the pork. So I'm twittering, I'm talking to people, and they bring me my salad, and right on top of the salad, 3 big strips of prosciutto, like right across the Brussels sprouts. I'm like, ha, pork! That's right. Didn't say it on the menu. I didn't read it at least, but there you go. It's a surprise, and it's there for me. So she brings me the food, and I tell her, I go, look, I got to tell you something. I had the fat guy surgery where they turned my stomach into a fucking shot glass, so I eat slowly. I'm going to order a starter, a main, and everything, but I don't need it on top of me because I'm going to eat slow. And she's like, oh, well, that's okay. I go, well, the thing is, you brought me, because they brought me an amuse-bouche, which was a puff pastry filled with smoked mushroom and Gruyere. And when I twittered, I said it tasted like the earth is burning because it was just like a smoky flavor, but also earthy because of the mushrooms. And then they brought me the amuse-bouche and then the salad like right after. And so that's why I tried to put the slowdown on it. I'm like, and the bread basket they brought. And I go, and she's like, no, we'll pace the meal. It's just the amuse-bouche came out. And I go, okay, fine. So I'm eating the salad, I'm twittering, I'm tweeting. I tweeted because they brought a bread basket. The bread basket had fresh, hot, soft popovers, scratch biscuits, and a handwritten note from Babe begging me to storm the kitchen and save him. So, yeah, that's right. I twittered that too. All right, so I'm doing my Twitter jokes for everybody.
Oh my God.
So I'm eating, and then I ordered as my second course. I had a pork belly that was in a Coca-Cola glaze with a mustard coleslaw and roasted peanuts. And I'm eating that, and I even said I go roasted peanuts and a Coca-Cola glaze. It's like they rolled a pig on a theater floor and set it on fire. Oh my god, so delicious. And I'm eating that pork, and then I'm eating, and then the even the butter had like, it was like a lard quality with like a bacon and garlic in it. It was so good. I'm eating the popovers. I'm just eating and tweeting. And then there's people sitting next to me. I'm taking pictures of all the food and sending it. I look like a fucking idiot, quite frankly. And then a guy writes me. He's like, "What are the people next to you thinking?" And I go. It seems like a first date. I think I'm giving them something to talk about besides, "Hey, are we gonna fuck later?" Because it was just, they were looking at me and they're like, "Ta-ha, tee-hee, whatever." I didn't give a fuck. I'm alone. So I'm taking these pictures, and then LaShawna comes back and she's like, "How's the food?" I said, "It's amazing." I have a question. Is Chef Gillespie working tonight? She said, "He is." I said, "Do you think there's a way I can get a photo with him?" I said, "I understand he's busy. I understand if he's leaving. I don't want him to come out in the room in front of everybody. If he needs me to go in the back, if he wants to do it in the coat room, I don't care. I'll do it at his convenience and anywhere he'd like me to do it. But it would be cool if he could do it." She's like, "I don't know. He's willing to accommodate that kind of thing, but it is late and he may be leaving. So let me double check." And I said, "Okay, that's fine." So I continued to eat and I paced myself and I got the pork. And then my main was, it was a pork loin with smoked collard greens and cheese grits, and it was just fucking, dude. I mean, they brought it. I'm like, and I didn't even have. It was. They were asking what I wanted to drink. I was like, just bring me a bucket of pig tears because I know you have it in the back. So they brought that. I'm just bathing in it.
Oh my god!
And then someone wrote me, and they're like, that looks really good. And I'm like, it's so good that even I would not stop chewing now even if I heard a scream. Like every time I heard a scream, I would continue to eat it. It was like that good. So I'm eating and I'm getting full. I hit the pork wall. So I had to get like a side of like root vegetables. I'm like, I even tweeted, I go, they should name this place Pork Holocaust. That's all they should name it. And the thing is, I don't do well with pork. You know what I mean? It's like, but I don't fucking care. I said, I'm getting it. Because before I even had the surgery, I started to get a little hinky with pork. But ever since the surgery, I can eat it, but it's still, maybe it doesn't agree with me all the time, but this is good pork. How can you pass it up? It's going to be fucking amazing. So that's fine. I didn't care. I'm eating it. I'm eating the pork loin and I get these root vegetables and I got it was like carrots and parsnips and fucking celery root and oh my butterscotch. It was so good. So good. And then they're bringing that, and then, like I said, I got there at 8:30, so now it's like 10:10. I mean, I'm really pacing myself, and they closed. I guess they closed at 10, because I'm like one of the only people left in the restaurant. And then she comes up, she's like, "How about dessert?" And I said, "Is there bacon in any of the desserts?" She said, "What's funny is I don't think there is." And I go, "Then I'm out." And I wasn't eating it anyway, but it's still I had to ask. And then they brought me a gift from their pastry chef, which was this tiny little like candied strawberry sugary gel thing, but square. And I was like, it was that thing where it's like, it's wafer thin. You know what I mean? Like I better get a bucket because I'm gonna vomit everywhere. But I didn't care. So then I'm eating and I get that little thing and she brings me the check and she comes over and she goes, "Are you leaving?" And I said, "Well, I'm gonna pay the check." And she's like, "Cause Chef is leaving and he's waited. And so I don't know if he was waiting on me or something. Just tell me. I'll go in the middle of my meal. I don't give a fuck." But he was waiting for me to finish eating. So then I sure enough, I go to the front and there he is. Like he's all cherubic and fucking hairy. He's got a huge beard. He's hirsute. And I shake his hand. I so stupid. I'm just like, I just, we rooted for you on the show. My wife and I wish she were here. She's back in Los Angeles. You look just like my brother. Like I'm saying a million different things. And he's just like, well, and I told him the food was outstanding. And I took like 4 pictures with him. So, I Twittered one of those. I said, I'm officially that guy. And then he leaves and I'm done eating. I pay the check. Everything was great. And I go out to get my car and the fucking valet guy is sitting there with his head in his hands because I'm the only person left. It's like 10:40. And I apologize to the employees on the way out. They're like, "No, you're good. You're fine." I bail. And I get in the car and I'm like, all right, it's 10:40. I got to head home. Or I could make a stop somewhere along the way because I don't have any plans tonight. And I've already sent out all my Facebook blasts, my emails. And I had dinner. What am I going to do now? So I decide that I'm going to go on a porn hunt. So I'm going to go to an adult bookstore. And I saw a billion of them. Like, I literally saw all these adult bookstores and strip clubs and all this different stuff. And I'm like, just go to an adult bookstore. Don't fuck with a strip club. I don't want a strip club. But I was looking for Girl in Glass, Girl in Box. You know what I mean? I'm like, because they don't have those here really in LA. Where there's a girl in a box. So I'm like, well, I'll find a place with a girl in a box. So I go out and I drive, and it's pitch black and I'm driving on this fucking road and it's Piedmont and Cheshire Bridge. All the porn is around. When you see the neon, you're there and I can see it across the street, but I can't get there because again, the asterisk and all the fucking stoplights. I'm at this fucking 9-way stop. And then I figure, you know what? I'm going to turn left. I'm going to go to the Peekaboo place first. And so I'm in the middle lane and I get into the left-hand turn lane. I cross over and I'm sitting there waiting and all the lights are changing and people are driving. And then a guy turns left to my street and he comes right in front of me. Like he turns into me, not into the lane next to me, he turns headlight to headlight. He's like going to smash me. And then he stops. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, idiot? You know what I mean? It's just two guys and they start honking. They're laying on the horn. And I look to my side and the guy next to me is like laughing. And I realize I was in the left-hand turn lane and then got into the oncoming traffic lane to turn left. So I'm blocking oncoming traffic. I'm facing the wrong way in a lane. Because I'm looking at my phone and I'm driving and I don't know where the fuck I am and it's nighttime and I can't see the double yellow line. I crossed the double yellow line. I'm in oncoming traffic. And this motherfucker behind me who's laughing pulled up rather than let me over. He saw me do it and went, all right, well, that guy's drunk, and pulled up. So I got nowhere to go. These guys are now trying to get down this street and they're right in front of me and they're honking, laying on the fucking horn. This guy's laughing. I'm waiting for the fucking light to change because there's nothing I can do. I try to back up and I back up and then these guys in front of me continue to come forward. I'm like, well, stop. Let me go around you or figure something out. And finally the lights change and I gotta sheepishly try to get back over. And it was funny because I was porned out. There's no doubt. It was the lights and everything, but also I was overwhelmed because I'm like, which porn star am I going to go to first? Which one am I going to go to first? I was absolutely trying to figure out the way to go, and I decided to go to the Peekaboo, which was the left. I figured, and then I wind up in the wrong lane. So, my cock is very bad at directions. So my CPS is off. It's absolutely off. My cock positioning system has no idea where I'm supposed to be. So then finally I get into the other lane and I go, you know what? I can't turn left now. So I get over and I go straight because there's neon ahead of me too. So I decided to go to that one because it's the closest one. I go, why go on a hunt? Why go on a hunt? There's porn right there. Go get it. So I pull forward and it's this place is called Insurrection. And yes, they spell it exactly the way you think they would. INSERECTION. So, and it's like a 2-story deal, and there's like a ton of neon, and there's no parking in the front, so you got to go underneath and park in the back. So I go underneath, and then you go through, and I go in the back, and there's a bunch of dudes like hanging around in the back in the parking lot. And it said booze. It had booze. It's got girls and booze, which is fine. That's all I want. So I go and I park. And I get out, and it's that thing where when headlights hit the back, these guys like scatter, like away from a car, or away from another car. So I worked in an adult bookstore, so I know what's happening. Someone's having sex in that car, and those guys are watching, or participating, or waiting their turn. I don't fucking know, but I know that's what's happening because once the second lights go, they all like turn around and they put their hats down in front of their cocks, and they walk away. You know what I mean? That thing. So that old thing. You guys have seen it at church. And I think I will preface all of this with telling you that I think Atlanta is the city that has changed me. I think Atlanta is the city that changed me. I said this on stage too, and I'm gonna tell you why. So I get in there, and I go into the Insurrection. I park, and I walk up. It's a $10 cover to get in, and we don't have covers on adult bookstores out here. So but that's good news because then I'm like, well, then these chicks have got to be fucking great. So I walk in, pay the guy the $10, and he's like. And by the way, the irony is not lost on me that I would pay $10 to go in to look at a girl in a box, and I was trying to save 30 cents on a 6-pack of Propel. I get that. Only this time Antoine doesn't have to boogie to the back to find me a chick. So I go in to pay, and I get to the front, and I give the guy the $10, and he looked like Harry Knowles, like this little Harry Knowles looking dude, big, kind of a heavy Jabba the Hutt dude with a big fat beard. And I pay, and he's very nice. He was very cool. And he goes, okay, what's your name? I go, excuse me? And he goes, well, I need your initials because I put your initials on the card here. I go, I don't need a card. I'm not, what the fuck do I need a card for? And he goes, well, because there's a turnstile and you have to swipe the card through and it gets you through the turnstile. and I will write your initials on here because then you can come and go as you please until 6 a.m. And I'm like, well, first of all, horrible choice of words. All right, as literal and as spot on as it was, do not tell me I can come and go at the porn store until 6 a.m. because I definitely will. But then he's got the fucking turnstile, and it's got a card. Like, so now I've got a fucking LoJack. Now I'm gonna get tracked at the fucking adult bookstore. And I'm like, dude, I don't need a card. He goes, well, no, you need it. You need it to get through the turnstile and get it. It's everybody has it for entry, and I'll just write your initials on here, and it just shows that you can come and go at 6 a.m. And I go, why do you need my name? And he goes, because again, I don't go to the porn store to make friends. All right. I'm not going for a discussion group. I'm not going to go, hey everyone, I'm Mike. Here's my card, my membership card. What the fuck? So sure enough, man, he's just like, no, it's just so you don't give the card to somebody else, the initials, and because it has to match their ID. And I go, and then in my head, I'm like, ID? He never asked for ID, but what am I going to do? Give him the DMV Bible? I mean, it's fuck. I didn't bring it. So the girls and the booze are out of luck. So he's like, no, he goes, it's just, I go, fine. I'll take the card. What are your initials? VV. So he writes those down, and I take it. And I swipe the card, and I go through the turnstile. It's like, finally, just get me away from the I just want to get away from all the bureaucracy of the porn world. I just want to see a chick taking off her clothes in the dark behind a plastic screen. That's all I want. I don't need a discussion. I don't need to have a book club. Get me the fuck in there. Swipe the card, go through the turnstile, and I walk in. I turn the corner, and it is dark. All right, and that's good because most porn shops are dark. They should be. You want it because again, they have my name now, and we're all friends, but you don't want to see anybody's face. I just want to get in a booth and watch a movie or do whatever. So I take a lap, okay, because it's really dark and it's big. It's a lot bigger than it looked from the outside. I didn't realize that, and so it's there's this long tunnel you got to go in, and then you go around, and as I walk in, there's dudes. All right, and there's a bunch of dudes leaning on the wall, like hanging out. And look, they're lurking, and that happens in porn stores. All right, there's a lot of lurking going on. Dudes are lurking for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't ask because, again, I haven't gotten to the discussion portion of our show. But they're waiting to get in the booths because I look and all the booths are occupied. So I'm like looking at the booths and they got the little light on and it says occupied. So I'm looking for an empty booth. So I'm walking around. I take a lap. And as I take a lap, I realize I'm not, I haven't covered everything. It's like I take a lap, but then there's more hallways and there's more tunnels and there's darkness and there's like and it's like, it's this never ending series of tunnels. It seems like there's tunnels and there's hallways and then there's dudes and then there's a group of dudes and there's hallways and it's dark and it's really dark and then there's booths and the doors are closed and there's tunnels and I mean, I'm talking tunnels intersecting hallways. And finally I see a light. Like I see a light. I'm like, go to the light, fucking Carol Ann, do something. So I make it through and there's guys lurking and I get through and nobody talks to me. Nobody wants to say anything. It's all that quiet sadness. So I go through and I see the light and I get in and it's a bathroom. It's like a restroom and it's open and the light's on and there's nobody in it. I'm like, all right, well, so I kind of get in there to get my bearings and I not in the restroom, but outside of it because it's on a raised platform and back toward the wall. And then I get by the restroom, I look to my left and there's pitch black. Okay. Because I'm looking for the booths with the girls and I see a series of like plastic doors and I'm like, oh, well, that's got to be it. But there's no light. I mean, it's completely dark. So I wonder if you got to pay to have the screen go up. You know what I mean? It's whatever. So I go and I walk in there and it's a shower room. And it's but it's dilapidated. Like it I'm waiting to see if Carrie Ilwees is going to be chained to a pipe and have to saw off his own leg to escape. Like literally I'm waiting for the dude on the triangle to come out and go, shall we play a game, Mike? Because it's like Saw. It's completely like Saw. It's just this dilapidated shower room with the fucking rusted out things, and I'm like, oh my fucking God. And then there's movement in the shower room, but I don't want to see it. Like I go in and I see something, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And I walk out, and I'm in the hallways, and I'm turning, and now I'm lost. I'm kind of disoriented because it's dark and there's tunnels and there's no opening for a booth. And it dawns on me, you know what? It's like a gay Vietnam. That's where I was. It was like Charlie built this place back in '67 with this series of tunnels to keep away from American GI. That's what it was. So I'm walking, I'm looking, there's dudes, there's a lot of shuffling, and it's just sad. It's sad, and it's like, in my head, I'm like, why am I here? Why am I here? I don't even know why I'm there. It's, because I don't drink. And I didn't want to sit in the room alone, and I got nobody else. I'm a bad alone guy. I got shit tons of email to fix. I could have been writing. I could have been doing anything, but instead I'm out. I'm just doing that. Because again, I can't explain it about myself. But like I said, I don't drink. I just ate. So what else is there to do? You fuck. You know what I mean? It's like, so you, or at least a reasonable section, you watch other people fuck. So I'm like, I'm there. And I'm walking around. I'm lost in the hallway. And again, like I said, I'm turning and going, and it seems like I'm in a different room all the time because it's dark and I'm waiting for my eyes to adjust. And it's like, you know what? It's like a first-person shooter. Like when you play those games, like I'm Duke Nukem walking around, and there's just all these dudes around. And quite frankly, let's be honest, all porn places are a first-person shooter if you really think about it. I mean, everyone in the joint is locked and loaded and just looking for a fucking target. But it was like I was walking around in Skyrim. It was like a gay Skyrim, but I tell you, none of these guys were looking to put an arrow in my knee. That's for sure. So I'm walking, I'm looking, and there's dudes, and finally a booth opens. But I'm not close to it, and I don't want to run to it like an idiot. But I see the booth open, and there's people in the hallway waiting, so I figured they're waiting for it. So I walk toward it, but nobody goes in. So I'm like, fuck, finally. So I get in the booth, I close the door, I sit down, and there's a glory hole in the booth. And it's not, let me explain glory holes to you. I think I've explained them in the previous episode. Let's put it this way. I've played glory hole before. All right. And I also, I know the etiquette of I don't want to be in the glory hole booth because I don't want what the glory hole booth offers. Okay. I'm not in there for any human contact. I'm not there to make friends. I'm not there to have coffee with anybody. I'm here to watch a movie of people fucking in a little room. That's it. But I get in, it's the only booth that's open and there's a glory hole and I'm like, fuck, I don't want to be in here. So I went to watch a movie and the movie wasn't on. And you need to put money in to watch a movie. And I've already realized, by the way, that there's no girls in booths. I should tell you that. I've realized that. So that's why I'm settling for the movie. And you got to put money in, but I already paid $10 to get in. What the fuck did I pay $10 to get in for? If I got to pay for movies too. And I should have realized, because I paid with a 20 and the guy gave me 10 singles back and I thought it was to tip the chicks. But instead it's to pay for the fucking movies. I'm like, God damn it. So I sit there, I go and I put $1 in because I'm in the booth already. And I put the $1 in and then there's the guy in the fucking, the glory hole booth next to me. And, he starts with the third base coach signals, you know what I mean? All the fucking taps and the fingers. And I'm just, I just let the $1 run out. I get the fuck out. I leave. I go, I don't want the glory hole booth. Somebody else take it. So another booth opens up finally. And I make my way through the dark and I get to it and I get in and there's a glory hole in the booth. And I should tell you this, glory holes, there's homemade, like they'll guys will fucking cut them out. It's a thing. This is built into the booth.
Nice.
So I don't even close the door on that one. I walk out and then I walk around. There's two more booths open. I look in, there's glory hole. There's glory holes in all the booths and built in, like they're meant to be there. It wasn't an accident. There's handiwork. There's craftsmanship involved in these glory holes. These weren't the work of some amateur. A professional strapped on his tool belt, built that glory hole, and then dropped his tool belt. So I walk out. It's dark. There's no chicks. And I'm like, I can't. Why are you in here? And I've been in there like a half an hour now. I'm walking in circles. And the thing is, everybody's like walking in circles. It's like, you ever see old people walking at the mall? That's what it was like. It was just like gay people go to walk at the adult bookstore and they walk in figure eights and they walk in, especially a giant one like this. The floor plan was ridiculous. So I'm walking and then I'm in this dark, really dark room. And then I look and then there's a room I didn't even see. I didn't see it because it was so dark. I just make out a doorway. So I'm like, oh, fuck, you're already here. So I go in the back. I walk and I get to the doorway and I walk in and it was so dark you could hear it. Do you know what that means? Like where it's such overwhelming silence that's what you hear. And I walk in and it's dark and I hear the silence and my eyes adjust because now there's no light. It's pitch black in this room. My eyes adjust and I just see 4 guys standing there leaning on the wall. Like facing one another, like a gay Red Rover. Like they're just like against trying to decide which one to send over. And I walk right, because I walked deep into the room and I turn around and I'm in the middle of the room and they're on either side of me, like on 2 on one wall, 2 on the other wall. My eyes adjust and I see them and they're looking right at me. All 4 of them look right at me. It's like, what were they doing before I got in there? Am I interrupting their discussion? Were they having some sort of contest? Like And I heard this, and I don't know if they said it. All right, I got to be honest. I don't know if anybody said it because there's silence, and it's just me and my head and my heart pounding. And I walk in, I look around, I see these dudes, and I hear in my head, "Hey, want to get raped?" Like I actually heard that sentence. And I think out loud, I actually went, "No, thank you." And I turned around and I fucking made a beeline through the dark to the doorway and I got out. And I zoomed through the hall to hall to hall, the lurkers. I'm dodging everybody. I'm moving and I zip out and I finally see the light of the exit. Because again, it was like a gay haunted house. Like that thing. I'm waiting for some dude in a hockey mask to jump out and jerk off on me. It's awful. And I finally see the hallway where I'm supposed to leave, exit, and I turn right. And there's the dude, the Jabba dude. And I walk to the turnstile. And he goes, "Remember, you can come back until 6 a.m. You got your card?" And I go, "Ha!" And I hold my card up and just walk out. There you go. Thank you. Beat a fucking beeline for the door. And I get outside and I'm like, God damn it. It's just air and light. And the second the door opens, of course, people scatter in the goddamn parking lot. And I'm standing there. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. It was because it was so weird and sad. Like there's just this weird loneliness just permeating the room. And it was just awful. And I was like crestfallen. I was like, wow, you did that. Why did you do that? Man, I really hope the next place isn't like that at all. So I get in the car and I drive and I make my left-hand turn that I couldn't have made earlier. It's now a right-hand turn because I was across the street. And I head for the Peekaboo. So, because I could go home, and in my head I'm like, "Go home, stupid." You know what I mean? But I go, well, you're so close. I mean, they're all here. And again, it's not really, they're not strip clubs. It's not crazy. You're not getting because I'm not spending money. You know what I mean? Now it's like I'm gathering intel. So I drive. So I go to the Peekaboo. I drive down by the highway and there's the Peekaboo and I park and I walk into the Peekaboo and I go straight to the back to the booths because I'm looking for girls and because it says video booths and it says booths. It says booths, girls, video booths. And so I walk in the back and there's one dude. He's like this Liberian dude. He's working the front. And I won't even attempt the Liberian accent, but he had it. So I walk in, there's nobody there, and I go into the back where the video booths are, and there's video booths, and so I look in at the movies, and there's glory holes in all of these booths. Now I should tell you, in LA, there's like, because I've been in porn stars, it's illegal. Like you can't do that. They will shut you down. It's like this thing. I've worked at one for fuck's sake. They frown on it constantly, as far as I know. I mean, again, I'm not that involved in it, but when I worked there, I knew that they weren't there. And if you go to one here, you'll never find one because they just don't have them. But they're built into these booths, right? And I told you, I was in Madison, Wisconsin. They had Buddy booths and shit like that, and I was astonished to find out that existed. So there's glory holes, but there's nobody in there. And then I look around, and there's no chicks. And I walk out to Liberia, and I go, "Hey, do you have girls here? Like it says girls on the sign." He goes, "Girls next door." And I go, "Well, like in the building next door?" He goes, "Yes." He goes, "Go outside. Girls, beautiful, so beautiful. They do whatever you want. Go next door." And I'm like, "Oh, all right. I mean, I guess so." So I walk out, and right next door is XTC Entertainment. And I figured I was going to walk in there, and there would be some hot girls making plans for Nigel. And then I would walk in and I would go, "Dear God." And then I would be elected the mayor of Simpleton. So I go, whatever, who cares? There's a million XTC jokes for nobody. So I did those in the moment on stage. I did them in Atlanta on stage. Like they came up in my head. It was so stupid. All right, so I walk out of the Peekaboo and it says XTC Entertainment, girls, girls, girls. So I have to walk from the Peekaboo. I take a right to the front of XTC. There's no door. And it's got a sign that says entrance with an arrow. So I follow that around the back. So I go toward the back, and there's a sign that says entrance with an arrow. And I come around to that, and it's locked. But right next to it, there's another. And now I'm getting deep. Now I'm coming off the street. Okay, now I'm going to the back to a darkened lot. And I know I'm going to get fucking stabbed. I know something bad is going to happen, and yet I continue forward. The arrows told me to. So there was another sign that said entrance in back, and it had an arrow. So I go toward the back. And I come around and finally there's an entrance. And I open it up and I'm in a foyer. There's no music. There's no thump thump. There's no anything. But I walk in and I'm literally alone in a room and there's just 2 doors. Which sounds like a weird setup, like a Catholic, as a traveling salesman stayed at a farm. Goes in, there's 2 doors. But honestly, what I thought of, what my brain went to, was it went to, on the old Batman show with Adam West, one time Catwoman locked them in a room and there were 2 doors. And one of them was escape and one of them was a tiger that could have murdered them. And so in my head, I'm like, oh, fuck, I do not want to pick the tiger door. I do not. But there's 2 doors, and so I walk up, and they're close enough to where I use my right hand and my left hand, and I go, kong, 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 and I knock on both. And then I hear rustling in a girl's voice behind one of the doors. And she's like, oh, baby, hold on, baby. And just like kind of weird, like sing-songy. And I hear like 3 locks get clicked, and she opens the door, and she peeks out. And she goes, 30 seconds. And I go, okay, 30 seconds? She goes, well, 20 seconds. I go, which is it, 20 or 30? And she goes, closer to 30. And so I went, okay. And I looked at my watch and I let her close the door. Because I'm having fun. Why not? Why not have fun, folks? I just dodged certain death at the gay Skyrim. So I'm standing there. And I hear voices in the inside. And she locks the door behind her, I should say. And then she unlocks it again and she opens the door. She goes, how'd I do? I said, 30 seconds on the dot. Even though it was not. I don't care. I had stopped timing her. So I walk in. And let me describe her for you. She's wearing Stack heels. See-through plastic, fuck me, 8-inch Stack platform heels. She has a bikini on with, just it's kind of a burnt Sierra. It's like brown and gold. All right. The bikini top and bottom match, thankfully. She has rings on all of her fingers, and she's got wrist bracelets on each wrist, like these a ton of bracelets. And I look up at her face, and she, how do I describe this? All right, she had the bikini, like I said, it was burnt Sierra. The reason I tell you it was brown and gold is because her eyes match her bikini. And at first, it looked like someone had beaten the shit out of her, because that's not a color you want around your eyes. It's like brown and gold and heavy, and I mean heavy, like thick. Like it looked like she had, when you put on makeup, there's a light touch. She looked like she had dove into a kiddie pool filled with eyeshadow and glitter. That's what she looked like. She was just shiny and thick. But she was tiny, all right? She was real skinny. And I'll tell you this about her face. I looked her in the face to talk to her, and she was short. She's probably like 5'4". But the heels made her like 5, like almost my height. And I looked her in the face, and every single part of her face was moving independently of one another. Nose, lips, eyelids, she's tweaking out of her mind tweaked. And to the point where it's like, maybe she wasn't tweaking. Maybe it was just, that's all it took to be able to hold that much eyeshadow on her face without letting her eyes slam shut like garage doors. I mean, her eyelids must have had biceps. That's how fucking strong they were to hold this much eyeshadow up. She's just got it on. She looked like, like Gene Simmons would have gone, that's a lot of fucking makeup. I mean, it was crazy. And her eyes are like half lidded, real heavy lidded. And she's like, but her whole face is twitching. Like, and she's like, hey baby, how are you? And she's like, 4 inches away from me. Yeah, about 4. Because I wasn't that excited to be there yet, but that's how close she is. So, she's like, hey baby, yeah, it's good. I'm glad you're here. And I go, oh, okay. Where is it? Cause now we're in a tiny room with more doors. Okay. And then there's a computer. And I said, well, so what? I was next door and they said there were girls here. And she's like, yeah, I'm here, baby. And I go, oh, I see that. Absolutely. She says it's $50 to go in the room. And then the more you tip, the more fun we can have. I said, okay, well, all right, but there's a room, but there's like a screen, right? Like, isn't there a plexiglass, like you're behind a thing? And she's like, nope, I'm as close as I am now, or closer, however close you want me to be. It's $50 to go in the room. And then the more you tip, the more fun we can have. You can just get comfortable and do whatever you want. And she's now getting closer to me, and she's got her hands on my chest, like she's talking to me. And I'm like, what? Well, are there other people here besides you? And she goes, well, yeah, there's one other girl who you just, because I saw a girl walk by, a black girl in a thong. She goes, that's just me and her working, baby. She goes, but you don't worry about her. She's busy. Me and you will go in the room, and fucking eyes moving, tweaking, and her teeth. She's actually grinding her teeth while we're talking. And in my head, I'm like, that's not a great advertisement for me to go in the room and have fun with you. Because I'm going to walk out of there missing some shit. Quite frankly, anybody who goes in to have fun with you is going to wind up missing something important. Because her teeth are moving, she's grinding her teeth and chattering, and her face is moving, and she's like, $50 to go in the room, and as much as you want to tip, baby, the more fun we can have, you can just go in and get comfortable. She keeps repeating it over and over like a telemarketer who can't get off the script. And I go, so it's just you and the other girl? And she says, yeah, baby. And I go, and so you and I will go in the room? She goes, yeah. And I go, well, who's going to answer the door? Stupid. Who cares? But I'm doing anything to try to get her away from me. Like, it's just weird and creepy. And I said, so there's no plexiglass, there's no screen. And she's like, no, I'm as close as this. And I said, well, I can't go in the room with you. Who's going to answer the door? And she's like, no, it doesn't matter. They wait. That's why the door's locked. They can knock and knock, and until we're done, nobody answers the door. But they know to wait. She goes, this is your first time here? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, $50 to come into the room, and then however much you want to tip, and then just as fun as you want, be able to just, do whatever you want to get comfortable, and I can take off whatever you want, whatever you want to do. And she's getting closer to me, and as she's getting closer to me, I'm like backing away kind of, and I'm just like, I'm not, this isn't, I thought there was like a screen or something, or she's like, no, I'm as close as you want me to be. $50 to go into the room, and as much as you want to tip, it's going to be as comfortable as you possibly can, and then you go ahead and I'll take off whatever you want, and you can get as comfortable as you want to be, and then we'll have as much fun as you, and I go, yeah. I go, what time? What time do you close? Like and it's funny. That's what I use to get out of a restaurant I don't want to eat at. Like I'll say, what time do you close if I don't like the vibe of the place, and I'll bail. But like, so I tried that on her. Like, she's basically holding my shirt. Like, she's almost tackling me because I'm moving toward the door, and she's pulling my shirt now. She's like, no, come on in the room, baby. Come on in the room. And she's tugging on my fucking shirt. And I'm moving toward the door, and I get close enough to the door to actually get a hand on the knob. And once I get the hand on the knob, even though it's locked, all those locks, she lets go of my shirt, and she immediately just stops with the bullshit. She stops the $50, baby, because she had me. But then the second, I guess, when I touch the door, that's glue. All right. Once I get to the door, that's glue, and I'm safe. So I touch the doorknob, and then she drops my lapels, and she goes, all right. It's like changes her voice completely and everything. And she just goes, all right, we're open till 6 a.m. if you want to come back. And just opens the door. And I was like shaking, like it was so weird because she was that close to me, and she's telling me about what we can do. And I didn't want that. I just want a booth. I'm looking for a girl in a booth. Certainly, that girl better be in a booth. She needs to be in a goddamn booth. And I walk out, and I get out into the foyer, and she slams the door and slams, clicks like 9 locks. And I go out front, and I look around. My car's around the front. And now it's like fucking 12:30, 1:45, and I'm just like, God damn it, that was brutal. Fucking tweaker, crazy bikini, trying to get me in a room, $50. And in my head, I'm like, so it was $50 to get into the room, and then how much fun that I wanted to have, and I guess I could get comfortable as I wanted to, and then oh, fuck, I gotta get out of here. Man, that was crazy. What a fucking crazy night. It was so weird. Man, I hope the next place I go to isn't going to be like that. So I walk around safely. I tiptoe. I get in the car, and I drive up Piedmont. And I see adult bookstores, and I see the spas, and I'm not going to a spa. I don't need a massage at fucking 1 a.m. They're open, neon, blaring, and that's the path to all bad things. Don't do that. So I'm driving, and I look, and I see these places, and then there's actual strip clubs, and I'm like, oh fuck, I can't go to an actual strip club. Jesus Christ. I mean, so I drive, and I finally get on Marietta, and I'm coming home, and as I'm on Marietta, I get a mile from the hotel. And I see neon, and it's a strip club that I had passed on my way to Richard Blaze's restaurant. And in my head, I heard my wife's voice go, I give you permission to go if you want to go. And I'm like, well, at least I'm out of traffic hell. Like, now I know where I'm at. I'm a mile from the hotel. Nothing bad could possibly happen here. This is fine, right? We're fine. It's going to be fine. So it's called Dancers Elite.
Of course.
And I pull in, and I pull into the security. And I should tell you, next door is the Uptown Comedy Club. Like this, like maybe I stop in, I do a set, I go next door. So I turn into the parking lot, and there's two attendants. And the guy walks up to the car. He goes, "Where are you heading?" And I said, I'm heading to Dancers Elite." And he goes, $10. So it's $10 to park. Park the car. Get out. And again, I haven't slept, man. I mean, I'm still, it's not since like 11 p.m. or whatever the fuck, or 11 a.m. I got up at 11 a.m. and now, so I've been up 12 hours, but I'd only slept 4, whatever. And that's another reason why I didn't want to stop at one of the spas, because I'm sure my comforter would be in there getting washed. So I didn't want to deal with that. So I'm a Dancers Elite, and I go to walk in the front door, and I go to the front, and I come out of the parking lot, and I turn the corner. I'm like 6 steps from the front door, and it smells like a head shop. Like it is just chronic, like this brutal, it's just crazy heavy smell of fucking dope smoke. So I approach the door, and I go in, and there's a box office, but nobody's in it. And a dude opens the door, and he's a big guy bouncer. And he goes, "Hey, Biggin." Calls me Biggin. He goes, "What's up?" And he hugs me. Like he gives me a handshake, and he hugs me. He goes, "All right, it's $10 to get in." And I said, "Well, I paid 10 in the lot. Is that the?" And he goes, "Oh, it's 10 to park and then 10 to get in." I go, "All right, that's fine." And he goes, "Also, it's $5 a dance, $10 for a dance in the VIP room." And I was like, in my head, I'm like, that's fucking cheap. Like that's crazy cheap, because here it's like dances are 20, right? And VIP room is totally different. Like you got to pay to get in. So so it's $5 a dance, $10 a dance in the VIP room. So I'm just like, all right, man. So I give him $10 to walk in. He goes, "Oh, man, we appreciate you, Biggin. We appreciate you stopping by." And he hugs me again, and he shakes my hand. He's a big dude. And he opens the door, and I walk in, and I look around, and I see my eyes adjust again, strip club and smoke, crazy fucking dope smoke. And I look through, and there's probably about 20 guys in there, and I see about 10 girls. And the girls are all dancing for guys. Like there's a girl on stage, but then the girls are all like lap dancing for dudes. And I'm the only white person in the building.
Yeah.
Like I'm just a fly in a bowl of cereal. I mean, I walk in, and it's literally like Otter and the guys when they, Otis Day and the Knights immediately stop singing. And I look around, and everybody looks at me. The dudes at the bar look at me like, "What? Seriously, dude?" And the girls look at me, and I just walk in, and again, and they're wearing, these guys are dressed like they got fucking bandanas and fucking. I mean, it's just they're, and I'm wearing a flannel shirt. I'm wearing my nice clothes that I went and had dinner with. You know what I mean? Like, gosh, I'm sure happy to see some ladies. I mean, so stupid. But I walk in, and that shit doesn't bother me. Like, I don't give a fuck, because, I mean, I have been in a bunch of shitty places. Well, fuck, that night I'd been in a bunch of shitty places. I can exist. It doesn't matter to me if it doesn't bother you. Who gives a fuck? I'm here to have a good time. You're here to have a good time. Let's all have a good time. So I walk in, and it is crazy fucking, like, dope, and it's, like, heavy marijuana smell, and hip-hop blaring, and I walk in, and there's a dude, this is great, there's a dude at the bar, and he's just sitting there, and he has a wool cap on, like a ski cap, but it has hanging strings that you would use to kind of pull tie it closed, and it's on his head, and he's wearing like those like 3/4 almost like capri pants, and they're baggy there, and he's sitting down, okay, and he's got a fucking like a vest over a shirt, and he's got a blunt in his mouth, all right, and his boys are there with him, and in front of him is a girl lap dancing for him, and she's just bent over with her ass facing him, and she's booty clapping. She's just booty clapping, and he's not even looking at her. He's talking to his boys and like looking around, and he's got a handful of money, and he's just going and throwing dollars at her. He's just throwing. She's booty clapping in front of him. He's not even looking at her, but he's peeling a dollar off, throws it. He's just throwing money at this girl. It's bouncing off of her. It's landing on her ass. It's landing on the floor. And there's money all around her on the ground. He's making it drizzle. Like he could have made it rain by throwing it all in the air, but he's making it drizzle one at a time. I mean, just one at a time. And she's standing in a puddle of cash that's gradually forming around her ankles, just bent over, holding her ankles, booty clapping, whack. And you can hear it smack, because she got a great big ass. And awesome. She's hot. And I'm looking around, and I'm like, dude, that's fucking crazy. So I walk past the bar, and there's nowhere to sit. I could sit by the stage, but I don't want to do that. And so I stand in the back, and there's a VIP room right where I'm standing, but the curtain is closed, but you can see inside, and nobody's in it. But it's got this white, horrible furniture. And then across the way, there's another VIP room that's dark, and the curtain's closed. So I'm waiting there, and a couple girls walk up, and they're nice. They hey, how you doing? What are you in town for? And I'm here working. You know what I mean? I'm just here working. You're sure pretty. I mean, awful. But I made the decision to come here. Like now this time I knew I'd be engaging myself with humans. I didn't think I'd be, because before plexiglass and bullshit, fine. But this time I knew I was going to have to talk to people. So I wind up talking to these girls. That's the thing I do in a strip club, and it's awful. It's so awful. I can't put a blunt in my mouth and just throw money at people. I have to know where they grew up. That's all I have in my arsenal. It's the only game I have is my mouth. That's the only thing I'm good with at all. So that's what I have. I want to talk to them and all that kind of stuff. And so these girls are coming up and I'm talking and it's this girl's first night. And I'm like, oh, you making any money? I'm just, it's this weird conversation. And she's like, you want to dance? And I go, you know what? Not right now. I'm going to wait, and she's like, okay, great. I'll come back. And she leaves. And Booty Clap finishes up with that dude. And I'm standing there. And then all the girls, that one girl who came up to me was the only free girl. Every other girl has a guy. And these dudes are not letting them go. It's like they're just handing them money and they're grabbing a girl and keeping her for 4 songs, holding her for songs. So I stand there for 3 songs and all these guys just keep throwing money and handing money. They're just, and the room's not full at all. There's, like I said, there's 15, 20 guys and 10 girls. That's it. And the bouncer comes up. He's like, how you doing? You want a drink? And the waitress comes up, asks if I want a drink. I said, no, I'm good. All right, biggin, enjoy yourself. Remember, $5 a dance, man. And he walks off. And it's like, and part of me, because then you think of stupid shit. Part of me is like, I want to go order a White Russian just to see what will happen. Can I have a White Russian? Or do you have anything with milk? Literally, no. I'm the only white in the room. There's no White Russian. There's no milk. It's not happening. We're lucky there's light in the room. So I'm standing there, and Booty Clap finishes up, song finishes up, and she picks up, she's bent down, and she's picking up all of her money. She rolls it into a fist-sized ball. And she walks up to me. And the song starts, and she comes up, and she's like, you want to dance? I said, well, she's like, well, you can just stand there. And she goes, if you want to dance, I'll do a dance for you. It's just $5 a dance. And I'm like, yeah. Because I didn't even get to do, you know why? Because I didn't have to small talk her. She's like, you want to dance? She was like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? So I said, yeah, I'll get a dance. That's fine. And she immediately just starts dancing in place. And if I could show you what she did, she's just like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and she's spinning around, just spinning around. She doesn't touch me. She doesn't do anything. She's just spinning around, and I'm watching her, and she's literally just standing up in front of me, dancing and spinning, and I'm like, that's a $5 dance. Should have known better. But then she dances, and she turns around, and then she bends over, and she booty claps. She starts booty clapping for me. And and she's close to me, and I'm looking at her, and she's booty clapping, and it's hypnotizing, because it's like you're staring into the future. You're just watching it, and you're waiting like 4 booty claps, and a genie's gonna pop out and grant you some weird wish. And it's just smack, 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 and I'm looking, and she's there, and she starts to back up towards me, and she's backing up towards me as she's booty clapping, and so I start moving backwards because. I figure she can't see where she's going, and there's no beep, 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 so I got to get out of her way. So she backs up, and she's getting closer to me, and I'm backing up, and we're by that empty VIP room, and I get close to the wall part of it where and I have nowhere else to go. There's a platform, and I'm up against it, and then she bangs right into me. Her ass is right on my crotch, and then she stands up, and she looks over her shoulder, and she goes, you can smack it if you want. And I said, really? Because that sounds like a trap. Because in my head, that sounds like, hey, if a white guy ever shows up, trick him into hitting one of the girls and we will beat the fuck out of that guy. So she's like, her body's against mine, and she stands up and she's like, she goes, you can smack it if you want. And I went, really? And she goes, yeah. She goes, you don't have to. And then she bends forward again, and she just starts flossing me, up and down, her ass on me. And I in my head, I'm going, hit her. Just hit her. That would be funny if you hit her. And then in my brain, like I said, I'm going, no, don't hit her, because they didn't hear her whisper to you, you can smack it if you want. That's just a group of dudes who are going to see you hit a girl and murder you. So the only thing I could do then at that point was I grabbed her hips, and I kind of moved again, and she moved with me. She stayed right on me like Velcro. And then it was in my head, I'm like, it's like she was trained to lap dance in Australia. She's like one of those sheepdogs that can just like whistle, and when it runs, it makes all the sheep go where it wants. Because she's backing me up into the VIP room, like she's backing me up with her ass, and I'm moving backwards, and I'm holding her hips, and she's driving, and where I'm going, she's like a forklift at this point in reverse, and she's just gonna put me up on a fucking shelf. And I'm moving backwards, and her ass is right on me, and she's clapping, and she's grinding me, and I'm looking, and I'm like, I'm holding her hips, and then finally the song ends, and then she just stands up and goes, $5. Like nothing, all business, straight business. And I said, all right, that's certainly worth $5. I'm trying to talk, stupid. Get my wallet. I hand her $5. And she's like, thank you. Walks off. One of the brothers grabs her immediately. Just bends over, does the whole thing for him. And I'm standing there, and I'm like, and she was kind of like sweaty, you know what I mean, and glittery and lotiony. And so I'm like, I've got that on me now, and I'm just like, oh boy, all right. I've been there like 25 minutes now, just standing there. And a girl comes out of the back, and she was fucking sharp, hot, sharp, tiny, little spinner girl. And she walks up, and again, like I said, I'm not spending money. I'm just there. I got one dance, and I'm just there for the atmosphere. You know, I'm getting a contact buzz. Why not? This girl walks out of the back room and walks. Two guys like try to get her, and she walks right past them to me. And she's like, "Hey." And I said, "Hey, hi." And she's like, "How you doing?" I said, "Good." And she's like, "I'm Samantha." And I said, "I'm Mike." I shook her hand. And she's talking. And she goes, "You live here?" And I go, "No." She goes, "Yeah, I didn't think so." Probably because I would have known not to come to that club, I guess. Or I would have been at Diamonds up the street. And she's like, "Yeah, I didn't think so." She goes, "So you staying close by?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm in a hotel somewhere around here." And she's like, "Oh, okay." She goes, "You here for how long?" And I said, "I'm here for work for like 3 days." She said, "Oh." She goes, "Yeah, this is my first day." I said, "Really?" Because she just came out of the back. So I figured she was at the back. She was like at orientation in the back. They got her a bikini that fit. They said, "All right, you're going to be fine. You got to fill out some paperwork. Here's your health insurance forms. Go ahead and fill those out." Her first day, it was just ridiculous. So I'm like, "Really?" And she's like, "Well, no, not my first day dancing, because I danced at a club up in Buffalo, and I just moved here. It's my first day here at the club." And I said, "Oh, okay." And then she goes, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Well, I live in Los Angeles." She goes, "Oh." She goes, "I'm from Connecticut." And I said, "All right." I go, "Why isn't that your strip name?" She goes, "What?" I go, "You should be Connecticut. That should be your name. Like, that's awesome." I go, "Especially down here, it would sound like exotic." And she's like, "My name's Samantha." Like, I insulted her. And I go, "Well, you know what?" I go, "Can I call you Connecticut? I like that better. I'm going to call you Connecticut." And she's like, "All right, yeah, you can call me Connecticut." So I called her Connecticut. And she was funny. Like, she was funny and she was fun, and she was talking to me like a person. And so I was relating to her as a person rather than just getting fucking ass steered into the goddamn fake VIP. So we're hitting it off. And then she says, and again, look, I know illusions. We're not hitting it off. We're strip club hitting it off. Like, talking like normal people is my point. All right. I mean, we're not, nobody's in love. I've been there before. I recognize that. But it was just worth it to have somebody who, like, you know what? I felt like one of the strippers, because I was so out of place that I felt like nobody wanted to talk to me, and like they were intimidated and weirded out by me. Not intimidated, but just weirded out. So I felt like just as strange as they did. So when she came up and she's relating to me, I was like, "Oh, I'm at ease. I'm talking to this girl." And then she says, "Do you want to dance?" And I said, because we had kind of been hitting it off, and I felt like that would cheapen our experience together. Why do I... Even though she was sharp. God damn, was she sharp. And so, yeah, I wanted to dance. I go, "Yeah, you know what, actually, yeah, I think I do." I said, "But I don't want to be standing up for this dance." I go, I already had a stand-up dance. I didn't care for it. And she's like, and all the seats, like, we'd have to go by the stage, and then when it was like showtime, we're in front of everybody, and I'm like, And she goes, "Well, do you want to go to the VIP?" And I go, I don't think that's a smart idea. And she said, "Well, no, it's $10 in there. It's $5 out here, but it's $10 a dance in the VIP." I said, "Come on, Connecticut. First day and you're already upselling me? Come on, we can't." And she laughed, and she's like, "No, but you know, you can get in there, and obviously it's more intimate. Nobody sees you. You don't have to sit in front of everybody." And I go, "Yeah, but it's also, I mean, come on. We both know that that's not the move, you know." And she said, "Well, I'm just telling you, it's $5 out here, $10 for a dance in there." And I said, "Well," I said, and there was nowhere to sit down, so I went, "You know what? Yeah, all right. Why don't we go ahead? Let's head into the VIP." Because in my head, I'm like, you know what? This is my only time here. And thankfully I had permission to do it. If I didn't have permission, I never would have even thought about doing it. And come on, and $10 a dance in the VIP, literally here in LA, it's like 50, 60 bucks just to go into the VIP. It's like crazy. And then you get in there and then forget about it. You get murdered and your wallet's gone and there is no sex in the champagne room. We all know this. But we go over to the VIP and we get to the door. And not the door, there's a curtain, okay? But it's fucking pitch black behind that curtain. And as we get to the front, Connecticut takes me by the hand. We walk over, and then she stops right at the curtain, and she goes, okay, it's $35 to the house to go into the VIP room. And that's for half an hour. And then it's $10 a dance. I said, wait a minute. Yeah, so it's $10 for a dance in the VIP room. She goes, well, but it's $35 to go in. And then it's $10 per dance for the half hour. And I'm like, well, all right, so how many dances are you thinking you can squeeze in a half an hour? She goes, I can do one. If you want to just do one, that's fine. Then we're in there for half an hour, and then we'll do one dance, and then, it's your choice. Then you can leave. I said, well, no, if I pay for the full half hour, we're in there for the full half hour, right? And she goes, well, yeah, but then, like I said, then there's dances. And I go, well, what if I only want one dance in that half hour? She goes, well, I don't know. She goes, I think I can convince you where you'd want more dances in that half hour. I said, but if you can't, what happens? She's like, well, I don't know. I've never had anybody who didn't want me to dance in the VIP room. I said, well, you'll hang out and talk, right? Ha ha ha! You'll hang out and talk. Like, we're going to be fun. We're friends. Hey, do you have a deck of cards in the back? Maybe we can play some blackjack. What the fuck is wrong with me? It's just because the money started to add up at that point where I'm like, how many dances can you cram in a half an hour? Jesus Christ, I don't know how they play the songs. And it's $35 to walk in and then $10 a dance. And she's like, well, I think I can convince you otherwise. I think you'll want me to dance. And I said, I don't know. Come on, that's not going to happen. And she's like, well, I'm just telling you. And I mean, she was hot and she's like bodying. And in my head, I'm like, dude, this is your last stop of the night. You're so close to the hotel. After the hell you've been through, you deserve this. You deserve this. And you have permission. So I went, all right. Because in my head, I'm like, well, I can get one dance and end it. You know what I mean? Even if I just get one dance, I'm fine. So we go, and she goes, all right, let me get the bouncer guy. So she goes and grabs him, and he comes over and he goes, oh, Biggin, yeah, and he fucking hugs me again. And he goes, Biggin is $35 to go in, it's $10 a dance. He goes, girls get none of the $35. All they get is the money you give them. So they get money for the dance and whatever tip you want to give afterwards. So if you want to go in, and I'm like, fuck. And now I'm starting to think, because then there's money, and it's like this weird, now I feel like I'm getting talked to by like 9 different voices. And I don't know if I want to go in there or not. And I'm just in my head, I'm like, well, you're going to do it, but you're convincing yourself, but you're being stupid. Just go home. And then Connecticut pulls back the curtain to go to lead me in. And I look, and there's one other couple already in the VIP room. And he's sitting in the corner in a chair. And she is facing him, but she's upside down. And her ankles are on his shoulders, and she's doing like a weird, they're in a 69, but he's sitting up and she's on top of him, and she's grinding him. She's naked, and she's grinding him in the chair, and while supporting herself with her hands on the floor, and he's holding her hips, and she's like basically grinding all over him, and I reach for my wallet. So I reach for my wallet.
Jesus Christ.
Because again, full contact strip club. And I've never experienced such a thing. Sort of. I mean, I've been back in VIP rooms. I told you that. I was in Vegas. I walked out with my belt around my neck, and my friends were like, what the fuck just happened? So I grabbed my wallet, and he's like, Biggin! And and now I'm Captain Money at this point. So again, I get the $40. I hand him 40, and he leaves because she's like, "Can you get us some water?" And he comes back with 2 waters, one for me and one for her, and he gives me my change. He's got 5 singles and change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He hands it to me, and I hand it right back to him because look, I'm a big shot. So I tip him $5, and he's like, Biggin! And he gives me a hug. He's like, enjoy yourself, Biggin. And he walks out, and he closes the curtain, and over in the corner, the 69ers are going at it and like making noise. And then Connecticut is in front of me, and I'm standing up. And I kind of like that angle because she's tiny. So I'm about 8 inches taller than her. So I kind of wanted to start that way. And then, and she goes, what? She goes, sit down. And there's a couch. And I'm like, oh, I'm okay. I go, let's, and she goes, sit down. And she pushes me down on the couch. So she pushes me on the couch. I land on the couch. And then she turns around and she's got her bikini on and she pulls the straps off. So then she's topless. But I can't see it. She's got her ass to me, which is fine with me. And she stretches down the straps of her bikini, and it's one of those like flossing ones that goes like a bunch of stripes, and like a bunch of strips of cloth, I should say. It's not a full-on two-piece. It's like, and she slides it down and she pulls it out of her ass crack, like she slides it and she bends over to take it all the way off. She's got her shoes on still, and I'm a gentleman. I grab the suit and I slide it down, and she pulls one leg out, and I let her pull the other leg out, and I fold it, and I put it on the couch next to me. And I'm on the couch. I fold her suit, and she kind of starts swaying back and forth again. She's still not facing me, so all I've got is ass and face. And again, that's fine with me. And then she does a bend over move, and she's this fucking lithe. And then she turns around, and hello, there's the front yard, and everything seems to be in place. And she's dancing, and she's not on me yet, you know what I mean? But I'm sitting there, and then she puts her knees on my knees, and she's just leaning forward. She's not on me at all, but she's bent at the knees, and her knees are touching my knees as I'm sitting on the couch. And she leans forward, and she looks at me. And I look at her, and I'm on the couch, and I don't reach for her because I'm not supposed to touch her. I don't think yet, whatever, but it doesn't matter. The other guy, he's doing the Muppet Show with his arm up to the elbow. But Connecticut's classy, and I don't want to start with that from the jump. And I've only got one dance. Let's see how it goes. So she starts the one dance, and she's swaying back and forth, and I'm looking at her. And then I may have mentioned to you folks earlier in the show that I don't do so well with pork.
Oh, no.
I'm on the couch. She's knee to knee with me. And all of a sudden, the pork holocaust from earlier in the evening wants out. Like it has boarded the train and it wants to leave immediately. Like it's not even a question. It's not like, well, I'll get through this. It's like it's pounding at the door. It's knocking. It wants out. It's as if my asshole was the Warner Brothers logo. And my dinner is going to Porky Pig and stick its head out. And let me tell you, that's all, folks. I'm on the couch. She's knee to knee. I feel it. And I know I have to shit. I have to go right away. And I'm on the couch, and she's in front of me, and she's seductively swaying, and I don't know what to do. And in my head I'm like, I gotta hit the bathroom, and I'm like, you are not shitting in a strip club. You are not. You're already out of place in this motherfucker. You're going to go now you're going to ditch this VIP thing, which you've already paid for. And because in my head, I'm like, well, I already paid. Just like I already paid the $10 at the fucking place. So I walked through the gay Vietnam, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I already paid $35 to get in here. Maybe I can tough it out. No way. There was no fucking way. Just a pork fist was ramming its way out of my ass. I had to get out of there. So I stood up. I jumped up, and she's like, no, I said, sit down. I go, I can't. I'm fine. I can't. I need, I didn't even know what to say. And I walked out. I walked out of the VIP room, and I'm looking around, and the guy's like, Biggin, you finished already? Just like one dance? And I go, no. And I had to decide. I'm like, am I going to go take a shit in this strip club? And I can't do it. I got to leave. And I said, dude, I got to go. He's like, what happened in there? I go, I'm good. I got to go. And he hugs me again. And I'm like, all right, fine. Ha. I hug him, and I go outside. And I go outside to get in my car to go to the hotel because I'm close. So I get out into the parking lot, and now there's a ton of people in the parking lot because the comedy club is let out. So they're all out there talking and smoking dope. So I fucking hummer out. I'm parked way deep in the lot, and I get in and I back out, and I'm clenching, like I'm running and clenching my ass at the same time. Like it's this brutal fuck because it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And I'm like, you are not gonna shit your pants, and I'm not gonna shit in public. All right? Because you know what? I was in the strip club and I was alone. I didn't have fucking 5-year-old Jordan to guard the stall for me. Who the fuck knows what's going to happen? I mean, it's so. I made this big deal, and then now I'm gonna fucking shit. No, get in your car and get out. So I'm trying to get out of the lot. I'm moving. There's a bunch of people there, and they're smoking and they're talking, and they're high fiving, whatever the fuck they're doing, or enjoying the comedy show. And I'm like, get the fuck out of my way. And I'm clenched, ass clenched. I get out. I get on the road, and I drive. And like I said, I'm only about a mile and a half away from the hotel, but it doesn't matter. I'm now in the car. I raise my ass off the seat. Like I thought I could, if I had my ass on the seat, it would like kind of like hold it in. No, it's like, it's even worse. So I've got my ass clenched and my hips up. Like I'm doing core work. I'm doing ab work in the fucking car. And I'm trying to drive like that, both hands on the wheel. And I'm looking and I get to a fucking green light. I sail through the green light. I get to another green light. It turns yellow. I sail right the fuck through it. I don't care. The next light is red. I went through the red light. I didn't fucking care because it was going to happen. It was going to fucking happen. I get up. I finally get to the Embassy Suites and there's an entrance and an exit. I go in the exit. It's because it's closer. It's literally, it saves me 10 seconds. I don't care. I just fucking cut across traffic and I pull in. And the valet's like, whoa, what are you doing? Wrong way. I go, I don't care. I get out and I go, there's the keys. I'm in the room. And I go in. I run. I'm running. It's fucking, and I smell like dope smoke. I'm sure I'm fucking, it's horrible, but I can't help it. I run into the lobby and I look and they wave at me and it's closed. I know if I need to get, if I don't get the elevator, I'm going to shit my pants in the lobby. And again, that wouldn't be that bad of news. It would be bad in the moment. But at the same time, it wouldn't be that bad because then the legendary story around the Embassy Suites would be, hey, remember the day David Watson shit his pants in the lobby of the hotel? Push the button, elevator door opens, I hop in, and I hit 8, and it goes all the way to the top. I run out, I jack the fucking card, I jump in, and I'm undoing my belt in the elevator. My pants are halfway down. I'm wearing Spider-Man pants, but my jeans, and it's a glass elevator. If anybody's looking, I'm dropping my pants in the glass elevator. They can see it. I'm all the way down. My pants are down. I'm holding them up. And I hop out of the elevator, I jack the card, I get in, and I fucking run. I sprint to the bathroom, and I just yank my pants all the way down. I sit down, and I made it, and it just explodes. Explodes. Fucking explodes. $70 worth of pork and $10 worth of Brussels sprouts explodes out of me. And I'm sitting there and I'm sweating and I'm relieved, but I'm wearing clothes. If I'm shitting in my clothes, something's gone bad. My clothes are on. And I'm just sitting there and it's happening. And I can't move. I'm staring at the floor. I'm like, I can't believe how close I came. And I look up and, the door's open on the bathroom and directly across from the bathroom is the closet with a full-size floor-to-ceiling mirror. And I look up and I just see me sitting on the toilet shitting. And I wonder what the fuck I've done with my life. So when I say that Atlanta has changed me, I really think fundamentally you guys have changed. This might have been the city where I finally learned my lesson. Atlanta might actually be the town where I finally get my shit together. You guys can get me at MikeandMikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can be my friend at Facebook.com/the40yearoldboy. You can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/the40yearoldboy. You can follow our friend Lily Von Stupp at two different places, twitter.com/MNTs and twitter.com/Lily Von Stupp. Be her friend at facebook.com/Lily Von Stupp. And if you want to write her a personal note and ask her how many times during this show she decided to ask me when we were going to a strip club together, you can go ahead and write her at Lily at burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com.
Zazzle.com/40yearold boy. Please buy all his stuff.
Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Teas every Monday night at the 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine. 10 o'clock p.m. is the time for said show. Huge show this past week. I heard it was great. Little standing room, a lot of fun people, some filming, all sorts of cool stuff going on. I learned all of that information from the producer of that show. Her name is Lily Von Stupp, and we are all very happy that she's alive, aren't we? Thank God. After the horrible scare in the beginning of the show. Hi, Lily. Hi. How you doing?
It hurt.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. That's awful.
You're funny.
No, that doesn't hurt. The epiglottis still hurts. It's inverted. I'm so funny. I inverted an epiglottis. So last week was good, you said.
Yeah, it was great.
It was a lot of fun. And now this week coming up, is that a theme show this week?
It is girls in uniforms.
Girls in uniforms, and eventually,
Out of them.
yes, indeed, that's good news. And that's pretty cool. And it's a salute to our troops.
Actually, Monday is the celebration of the founding of Girl Scouts.
Oh, those kind of uniforms.
And so that's why I went, So we have a Girl Scout, we have a Boy Scout, we have a Brownie, we have a flight attendant, a nun, a Marine, and a girl in the Navy, I believe.
She could sail the 7 seas.
She could sail all of the 7 other dancers.
Oh, nice. Well, come in and see that, folks. Yes, that's happening. You are filthy. All right, so that's awful. So that's a big theme show. That's going to be great. Are you one of the people in uniform?
I am hosting, and I am representing the Marines.
Good for you. Why? Because you are.
Dating a Marine.
And?
Looking for a few good
Yes,
men.
you are, of course. I'm glad you said it.
And a couple women.
And please remember, folks, anytime you go to the show at the Monday Night Teas, you
No.
slap or smack Lily on the ass, you get in free. But don't do it too hard because you may invert her epiglottis. Can't have that. Do not want to have that happen, folks. Because I saw it and it was grim. All right. So make sure you go to that show. Again, 3 clubs in Santa Monica and Vine. More information always at facebook.com/Monday Night Teas, right?
Yes.
And also at MondayNightTeas.com. Go and check out the information there. Remember, at facebook.com/the40-year-old boy, you can find the pages of people who want to bring me to their towns. Hopefully people who have closed up their red light districts and have nowhere. Because again, I'm not interested in that anymore. I'm straight. I'm straightened out. It's all, I can't, I need to fill this hole inside myself with something else other than pork and porn. I'll figure out what to do. But there's also, bring Mike Schmidt to Kansas City, bring Mike Schmidt to Indianapolis, Toronto, Western New York. I think a Fresno page just opened, which will be the first page that I actively campaign against. I am not a Fresno guy. I'll go. Fuck that. I'll go wherever you want me to do a show. It's fine. But yeah, Fresno. Oof. So yeah, if you want to sign up on those pages, let me know that I'm coming to your town. That's great. Please remember, I am coming to certain towns already. There are tickets on sale. If you want to see me in D.C., at the D.C. Art Center, Washington, D.C. That's March 23rd. That's 2 weeks from this Friday. Tickets are on sale, and it will sell out because there's only a handful of tickets left, and people keep inquiring and saying, hey, how long can I wait? Well, you can't wait much longer because I'll be honest, and I got to tell you this too. The show will be decidedly different in D.C., so I must warn you about that because I only have 2 hours on stage. The show has to start right at 7:30. I have to be done at 9:30 because there's a show after me at 10 o'clock. As much as I'd love to go in there and swing my dick around and just be, I can do whatever the fuck I want, I can't this time. They were nice enough to rent me the room. I've got to respect what they're doing and certainly respect the show after me. So it's going to be a 2-hour show. Now I'm going to throw this out to you guys. All right. And let me also clarify, I'm not going to do what you say. All right. I'm going to make my own decision here, but I might as well throw it out to you for votes. If you're coming to the DC show, do you want me to do a segment about what I do in DC and then a truncated version of the actual one-man? Or do you want me to just do the one-man, the way it's written, the narrative of it? I'm going to let you guys think, because I'm thinking about it. I don't know what I'm going to do, really, because the show in Atlanta, I didn't get to finish because I had to have a natural finish of comedy. But, after that night, Friday came and I studied, I learned some jokes and I went and did the show. I went to the theater, the Fabrifaction Theater, and I met Jeff. I should tell you this right when I walked in the door. He tells me that there's no Jono and there's no Dee Dee, which is fine. He also mentions that they can't find my payment. He's like, did you pay? And I said, yeah, you guys wanted half and I sent all of it. He goes, yeah, my accountant is saying that we don't have your money. I said, well, that's kind of not on me. I sent it, I guarantee it. But the thing that makes me mad is they insisted on a cashier's check. So I don't have a record of my bank cashing a check. So I said to him, I go, look, dude, I don't, I'll go home and check my paperwork and that's fine. And he was very nice about it, but he did mention that they don't have it. But then later on in the night as I was leaving, he's like, well, is it Mike Schmidt? And I go, well, the check's from Throat Punch Media. And he goes, oh, that might fix it. So I said, all right, find out. But yeah, I was very disappointed. 'Cause so not only are they not there, but then, and also the Fabrifaction was in this fucking, it looked nice. It was a nice complex once you got inside. It was like kind of all over the place, but of course it's in the middle of this apocalyptic war-torn hellscape, you know what I mean, outside. And then I did the show, and Atlanta was amazing. It was the best show I've done so far. And I don't say that to slight anybody else. I say it for me, for my performing. The segment that you just heard, all the stuff that happened in Atlanta, was like an hour and 25 minutes before I even started the one man. The show, the night, the actual thing, all of it together was 3 hours and 35 minutes. It was crazy, and I want to thank everybody who came and indulged me. I know some people left. I understand that, and you have to, and I say that up top. I understand if you've got to go. I understand all of that. So, but you're very nice to come in the first place, and I appreciate it. But John and Alice came up from Florida. Thank you so much. That was so great. David Watson, of course, was at the show, and I talked about him. He was there. Jack came up from Florida. Our friend Jack came up. Joey Harris, who I mentioned. I got to tell you this. I got to tell you this. Again, I sat around Wednesday, Thursday. I didn't do anything. I went out to porn places and pork. Friday, about an hour and a half before I have to get ready for the show, I opened the shirts to go ahead and write a thank you note and put them in a package for everybody and separate them and get the list all squared away. And I pull out, and they included a 3X for me. Because they had told me they were just going to send the 4X, and they were going to send the 3X to my house. So I get the 3X, and I'm like, thank God. I open it up. There's a 3X. It's perfect. I turn it around. It doesn't have the Schmidt 40 on the back. Only the front is printed. There's a 4X with the Schmidt 40 and all that stuff. That order, but they included a 3X, but nothing on the back. An hour and a half before I'm supposed to go to the fucking show, I call them. And I get them on the phone, and I'm like, yeah, you sent me the 3X. And she's like, great, I didn't even think we would. I go, it's wrong. There's no printing on the back. It's just the front. And she goes, oh, well, I did tell you that we probably weren't even going to send you the 3X. And I'm like, so I should be happy you sent a wrong 3X? Like, I mean, that weird thing of like, I'm supposed to just be accepting of whatever the fuck happens is so weird to me. No apology, no I'm sorry, no we'll get right on it. Well, you weren't expecting a 3X anyway, so I should be happy with half a one? So I said, send me a real one. All right, I'll convince this guy to take the 4. I'll ask him and I'll ship him the 3 later, but just send me the 3. She's like, sorry about that, no problem. And now I got to order the Washington shirts. It's like in my head because they sent it to me. And again, I could have known that on Wednesday. All right, I could have. But I didn't know until an hour and a half before the show. And then Joey was very nice. He bought a 3X, and I said, look, I have a 4X, and here's what happened. And he was so cool. He's like, I can take it. So he was very nice. And like I said, I met him. I met a ton of people. I met Brian. This kid Brian was real nice. I met everybody. I mean, everybody was so cool, and they came out. And there were people, who started the page. And I met Andy and Andrea, his wife. And they came up, and they were very nice, took some photos, and he bought a shirt. And he goes, hey, next time we'll show you some better strip clubs. And I said, oh, really? And then she's like, yeah, there's much better strip clubs in town. And I was like, yeah, she said it too. I said, great. Where were you guys 2 days ago when I'm in the middle of blunt smoke? Although then I would have left them alone in a strip club and run away. Can't do that. So if I didn't mention your name, I apologize, but please know I was very happy with everybody who came out. Thank you so much for coming out to the show in Atlanta. And you saw, so I had a lot of pressure on me for this show. It's going to sound ridiculous, but I told Lily, I don't think I can follow what I did on stage in Atlanta because they were so nice and allowed me to kind of go wherever I wanted. And she's like, well, just tell the fucking story. And I go, yes, but it's different. It's just different. When you're telling it, I make it up on stage. I mean, I don't ever talk it out loud. I think of things and there are beats, but on stage in the moment, I think of stuff and there's callbacks and it's interesting. And that's what I do. So it's like a live version of what I do here. But in my head, I'm like, well, it'll never be as funny here as it was there, but hopefully it was. Who knows? And why am I telling you that? I just told you it's never as funny. Should I take that out?
No.
You sure? Stupid. I'm just trying. That's what's in my head. So Washington, D.C., I need to hear from you. If you want me to go into detail about what happens to me in Washington when I'm there for a few days, then that's fine. I will. And then I'll figure out the one man and maybe make it different or tell you certain stories that match up. I can take out chunks and make it work. Or if you'd like to see the one man show, the actual show itself, I'm happy to do that too. So, and we all know that I'm never going to be able to stick to that, but we'll see. So just vote. Tell me what you think. Write me on Facebook. Write me at Mike@MikeSchmidtComedy.com. And again, I'm going to do what I want. but it's always nice to hear what you guys think. So tickets are available at Brown Paper Tickets for my March 23rd show at DC Arts Center in Washington, D.C. Tickets also available for April 27th in Cleveland at Big Dog Theater. And tickets available for the June 1st show in Boston at the Cambridge YMCA Theater. That's available now, and tickets are moving for all of those cities. And again, like I said, DC will sell out. If you want tickets, get them now, because I think we're down to single digits left. So go ahead and pick those up. And I know I've been saying that because, but trust me, we got 2 weeks, but usually there's a flood of people at the end who go, oh, I want tickets, and then miss out, like Chicago missed out. So I'm telling you now, if you want tickets, get them, because we're down to a mere handful. So there's that on Facebook. And remember to go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You can visit the link, the Joe Business page, and go to the link for the Zazzle store and pick up mugs and mouse pads. There's a link to tweakedaudio.com/40. I'm sure they're running out of earbuds right now because of the strike in Taiwan at my factory. But hopefully I've got that all straightened out. I've got some emissaries moving out and going over there and taking care of business, and we'll get them online. But go right now, buy out whatever they have at tweakedaudio.com/40. Go ahead. I think they have cock ring watches available, and they certainly have autoerotic asphyxiation earbuds. Pick them up right now. And if you want to buy a download set, which some of you did, and it's funny, people will see me live or they'll hear me on another podcast, and they'll buy a download set. Remember that you can buy year 1, year 2, or year 3 on the Joe Business page at MikeSchmidtComedy.com, or you can buy them all together in the Lord of the Schmidt set. That's great too. And if you want to donate to the show, there's a little icon in the upper left-hand corner. It's a little Schmitty with his pocket out. Click on him, donate to the show, and all donations are wonderfully accepted and thanked. And I will mention you on the show if you do donate. People who donate, you can donate $2 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, or a one-time donation is welcome as well. So let's mention these people like Christopher Morse, our friend who donates every month to the show. Thank you so much, Christopher. I appreciate it. And this sounds like I'm going in alphabetical order, but I'm not, because this guy's name would have been first. Kevin Moore. Moore comes before Morse. See, but it's kind of M's, but it just so happened they were on the list together. Christopher Morse, Kevin Moore, and our friend William Quick from Canada. William Quick from Canada has donated as well. So William Quick from Canada, Kevin Moore, Christopher Morse, thank you all so much for donating to the show every month and for your one-time donations. That's great. And thank you to anybody who's buying things. I truly appreciate that very much. Remember that I'm on Jordan Jesse Go, this week's episode of Jordan Jesse Go, which came out Monday. Go ahead and download that. It's there's no Jordan, unfortunately, but there is the very funny Nick Adams. He is there sitting in, and it's me, Nick Adams, and Jesse Thorne talking about Janet Jackson and her sweating on me. Go ahead and listen to that show. Jordan Jesse Go is available. That's great. And remember, my Rock Solid podcast about Van Halen is still out there to be downloaded, as well as my Comedy Film Nerds Oscar wrap-up. And I would normally not backtrack because those are from a week ago or even 2 weeks ago, but I am fucking hilarious in those. I'm not kidding. The Oscar wrap-up, like I should have been carried out on my shoulders. I was fucking hysterical. And the Rock Solid podcast, I'm not funny per se, but I certainly do know a lot about Van Halen, and I'm very passionate about it. So why not check that out? Those are both available along with the Jordan Jesse Go episode, which I'm also funny on. I don't know why I did that. I'm really funny on those two, and then this one. No, I'm funny in all of them. Go ahead and check them out. And Nick Adams is hysterical, and Jesse does a great job. So go ahead and listen. It's a great show. Also, I now got to catch a plane. I've got to be on a plane in fucking 10 hours or no, 6 hours, 8 hours. I don't know. I got an early flight, and hopefully it goes more smoothly than my flight home from Atlanta. I got to the Atlanta airport early because, again, I had to drop my rental car off at 3. And I had to, the weather was brutal, by the way. There were tornadoes and all sorts of crazy shit in Georgia. When I left the show, you know who else came to the show in Florida? Seth and Brandy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It was great. They came out. And it was funny when I mentioned, I go, that's Seth and Brandy from New York. And everybody clapped. They all clapped. It was kind of weird. And then Seth and Brandy, first of all, Seth, of course, wearing flip-flops and shorts. Like, dude, what are you doing? You're a grown man. Put on a pants. Pants. I was going to say a pant like Jimmy Pardo, but so they were very nice and they hung out, and then it looked like I was going to go out with them after the show. Okay. And I was going to go, it's funny, John and Alice wanted me to go out, and then it just didn't work because with the bad weather, I'm like, well, I got to get to the airport early on Saturday. I don't want to monkey around with it. And then it turned out the weather was fine and I didn't want to bother them. So I was like, well, I'll just go myself to Mary Mac's. And then it turned out John and Alice were at Mary Mac's while I was there. They were in another room of the restaurant. Ridiculous. But then Seth and Brandy and I were going to go out for something after the show. And they said, all right, well, you know what? We want you to come by our hotel first. I was like, why? It's fine. And they go, no, somebody you got to meet. What the fuck does that mean? Like, I mean, no offense, I like you guys and you're great, but what does that mean? Someone I got to meet? They go, look at this. And Brandy has her phone and they have a puppy. They have a Shar Pei puppy, and he's like totally small and wrinkled. And she goes, yeah, he's at the hotel right now. And in my head, I go, well, they don't want me to meet this dog. They got to go check on this fucking dog. Like, I mean, that's, it's like, no offense. I mean, I understand, but look, I'm not dumb. And then I go, so you want me to meet the puppy? And she's like, well, we want to take him for a walk, and then we're going to go. I go, all right, no, never, you forget it. I go, no offense, I'm not going back to the hotel, and you're taking him it's already fucking, it's already 1 almost. I go, I'm just going to go to the room. I go, that's fine. They go, what about breakfast tomorrow? And I go, well, I'm going to this Mary Mac's place if the weather's okay, but I'm not sure. I might have to contact a couple of other people who are interested. And they're like, oh man, can you go at like 10 a.m.? And I said, well, no, I don't want to go that early. It doesn't open till 11, and I'm not even going to wake up and pack until like 12, and then I got to be at the airport by 1, so I don't know if it's going to work. And they go, well, the thing is, we're checkout time, and we don't want her to sit in the car the whole time, Remy or him. We don't want Remy to sit in the car. And I'm like, fuck Remy, and we're not getting together. No offense. I mean, I'm sure Remy's cute and he's wonderful, but I didn't come out here to play second fiddle to a puppy. And again, that's just me in my stupid head. Puppy was gorgeous. It was great, but it's like, I can't structure my schedule around whether this dog has to go. That's why I don't own a dog. If I wanted to do that, I don't own a fucking dog. So Seth and Brandy were nice. So we actually got to spend some time together as we waited for the tornado to pass through Georgia before we could get to our cars, because rain was coming sideways. It was blowing sideways. Stuff was blowing off roofs. I ran to my car. You could wring my shirt and my jeans out. It was brutal. And then so the next day I go to leave Atlanta. I actually got to Mary Mac's, and I told you Alice and John were there. I didn't see them, but I get to the airport on time. I drop my car off. I get in, and I go through security, and the guy in front of me has a belt on. He goes through the little screener, puts his hands up. They run the little, it's in the fucking TARDIS, and they do the spin around thing, and then he walks through. They don't say anything to him. So I go and I get in. So I leave my belt on. I take my shoes off, everything else. I get in the thing, and I put my hands up. There, everything's fine. I go, okay, no beeping, no anything. I walk out. I go to get my stuff, and the security guard comes up to me and he goes, hey, do you have a belt on? I said, yeah. And he goes, I'm going to need you to take your belt off. I said, why? I just went through the machine. You saw I have a belt on. That's fine. Because I was in no mood. I just, I was there early, and I anticipated problems with the Bible, and downstairs again, thankfully, because I had flown in, they didn't give me a hard time. Oh, I'll tell you this, fuck this. When I checked in, they didn't give me a hard time over my ID because I had already flown in on ATA. But this motherfucker, I couldn't believe it. He puts my bag on, and it's like 43 pounds. And he goes, and then he goes, oh, hold on a second. He pulls out a tape measure. He measures the height of my suitcase, the height, and then around the circumference. And he goes, ooh, that's 1 inch bigger than we need. I went, what? He goes, it has to be 61 inches or less. You're at 62. So it's an extra $30. And I went, you're joking. Because it's 20 to check the bag. Now they want 50. They want it to be 50 for it because it's too big. I go, it's under 50 pounds. He goes, yes, but we look for combined circumference, and it's 1 inch over. I said, I have been flying for years, especially since 2001. No one has ever pulled a tape measure out and measured my bag. No one, ever. I travel with this bag every week. No one's ever done that. Well, sir, it's just part of our policy. I go, it's part of your policy. It's not. And he goes, no, it's airline policy. I go, fine. He goes, it's right here. And he shows me the printed sign. I go, but no one has ever done it. He goes, well, then they are not doing their jobs. So he goes, you know what? Zip this zipper. Because there's, it's got 9 zippers, like a compression zipper. So I zip that, and then he measures it, and he goes, it's a skosh over. It's a little over 61. But I'll let. We're fine. We're fine. You don't have to do it. But that brings it much closer. It's like 61 and 1/10. But you're fine. We'll let it go this time. And I'm like, yeah, you'll let it go this time. You know what? That bag's going to be a lot bigger when I stuff you in it, motherfucker. I was so mad. So I went. The weird thing was the license wasn't a problem. This fucking, scroll that I had, but the fucking bag. So I walk, and I go, and the guy looks at me in security, and he goes, you got to take your belt off. And I'm like, you just saw me. I have a belt. I mean, it's fine. And he goes, no. He goes, if you're having a belt, I have to feel it. I go, the guy before me had a belt. You didn't make him take it off. And I get it. I know why, okay? Because I'm fat. And I have a gut, so you can't see my belt. I can show it to you, but I got to move things around. So I said, if I take my belt off, my pants are going to fall down. I said, because I've lost like 50 pounds recently, and my pants are really loose. And he goes, well, sir, no, you can hold your pants up. And I said, no, I can't. That's my belt's job. And I reached, and I unbuckled my belt, and I took it off, and I let my pants fall down, and I fucking handed him the belt. And he goes, sir, there's no reason to make a scene. I go, I'm not making a scene. I'm quiet, and I'm standing right here. Whatever you need to do with my belt, do it. pull your pants up, sir. I said, yeah, check my belt so I can make them stay up. And he goes, sir, we will take you in the back. And if you want to do it the hard way. And I go, I don't. But all this time you could be looking at my belt. I'm not going anywhere. Do it. And I reached down and I pulled my pants up with one hand. They were half on and half off, like a clown, like clown pants, seltzer pants. And he took my belt, and you know what he did? He ran the length of it with his thumbs all the way around, like to see if it was, there was no bumps. There was no it's a leather belt with a belt buckle. Fuck you. And he felt it all the way through. And then he goes, I'm going to have to pat you down, sir. And he did. And I let go of my pants again. And he goes, pull your pants up, sir. And I go, well, I thought you had to pat me down. And he goes, sir, we can do this in the back if you want. And, everybody else is going by me and stuff, and they're laughing, they're joking, and I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. And I pulled my pants up, and I held him while he patted down my gut and my legs. And then I put my belt on. He's like, you have a nice day, sir. That asshole move. And I was so furious. Part of me just wanted to take because I had Spider-Man pants on. Again, I had Spider-Man pants on, so it's not that big a deal. I'm wearing long johns. And then part of me just wanted to take my jeans off. Just, I'll take them off. They're off. You want to juggle my pants? Juggle my fucking pants. Bless you. You okay? That shows you're into the show. Hey, did that toggle your epiglottis and get it back? Come on, the sneezes had to toggle your epiglottis, right? I can't believe you busted out sneezes. That's how boring this is. You're allergic to how long and boring this fucking story was. That's what it was. I am just stupid enough to think that when people listen to me and they listen to the show, they should take my honesty and go, oh, wow, how refreshing his unvarnished honesty is. And the fact that he's willing to have a scorched earth policy and have no friends or no fucking future is so refreshing and great. But then they'll say to me, hey, do you need somebody raped for the steak? I go, yes, I do. Done. They'll take care of it for me. Thanks, Snake Rape. Oh, no one listens to show, bro? Wonder why? Wonder why no one listens to show, bro? I don't want to listen to show, bro. Please. Snake Rape, do it, do it, do it, do it.